Oh my goodness. I think I could definitely go to see that part again too. Old Harry, one more time here. I mean, that couldn't be any perfect. How's it going out there, my fellow world patriots? It is indeed Monday, October 20th, 2025, and we bring to you today Hold the Line, episode 179, guys. In geez, one show a week, 179 episodes. That's a lot of time. What have we been doing? 3 years or so, at least. At least. But yeah, always a fun here. We've been doing this on a Wednesday typically, and we switched it up to a little Monday action. But let's bring our hosts in here, and I will quietly play this in the background as to kind of mess up Lisa's intro so she can only laugh while she's saying hello to you guys. But how you going today, Lisa?
I'm good.
I mean, I could literally watch that over and over.
Me too. I put in a link there of just a search on the Q drops, the shit.
Shits and giggles.
And it's quite interesting.
Shites and giggles. All right, we'll pull that up in a second. Let's bring in Mr. Mac first, really quick, to say hello, and then we'll get the ball rolling, as they say. How's it going today, Mr. Mac?
It's going well. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure doing these shows. Oh, this meme is epic. The whole world is watching. But it's the guy that made it's right at the bottom at XERIAS. Everyone was saying that Trump made it. No, it was a memer. And that's where people are getting things wrong too. But the left is having a conniption, as you would imagine, which is pretty funny. But it's going great. I think we got a lot to talk about as usual. Probably won't get to it all. But, thanks for everybody that tunes in. Thanks to the mods. And thanks, Base Shot, for having Lisa and I, as always. So Let's get this going.
Lisa, you said down the bottom. I don't see it down the very bottom, but...
It's maybe somebody's posted it, but there's a longer version anyway. You don't have to play it, but
the video.
What happens is, where
I mean, just common sense.
This is the wrong one. Okay, I got you. I know which one you're talking about. Get it put because they did.
Trump put on True Social
about the chocolate. This the chocolate video. Go ahead, Rob.
I think our friend Harry Sisson is in this video. Can we play with the music? Danger Zone.
This is strong.
Danger Zone.
By the way,
look at Harry. Oh.
He really posted this?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Danger Zone.
Oh, look at him. He is the biggest troll.
He's such a troll. On one clip, he'll say no kings, and then he'll throw.
This is my favorite.
Put this out there.
This is my favorite.
Excalibur, right?
And look where they posted it on Blue Sky.
On Blue Sky.
And
look at him bowing down.
Reverend.
What Excalibur?
And look where they posted it
down.
Reverend.
Freaking.
That's a good little mashup right there, huh?
Yeah, it was a great mashup.
I mean, it's so disgusting what these idiots were doing out there. I mean, it's just literally kowtowing to the other side and bowing down to the other side. What these morons were doing.
Well, what's interesting is that today I watched a video and I forgot to just tag it. But, it basically told you who funded that protest, the No Kings protest. And it included Rockefeller, the Tides Foundation, and Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett has recently sold shares in Apple. I can't remember, another large company, and people are going, oh, what's he doing? And all of that kind of thing, because, people like that, everybody follows like sheep, and you're all supposed to get the willies about the stock market and sell, and then his mates buy. And then in another month or two's time, they make a lot of money. But that's interesting. But I watched a video where this lady broke it down, and basically what she was saying was that these people are saying that they want democracy and that he's a danger to democracy and all of that. And actually, their protest is against democracy. They don't want people to have democracy. They want the illegals in. They want people being killed. Trump's following the law. all the court cases, he's followed the law. He's done what the law said, even when it's been a ridiculous case, you know. And what do? Not follow the law, you know. So yeah, there it is. There it is.
Boards as well, huh? I mean, geez, we've been told about possible German interactions back in the day there with the Ford family as well.
It wasn't possible. It was real. It's real.
Okay.
Very real. They provided the vehicles for the Nazis, you know.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we do it for sure. I was being a little coy there, but we've known, we hear about this Arabella Insurance or whatever the hell the group is known. We do of course know Warren Buffett. We know about the Ford family, Rockefeller family, Soros family, and the Tides group or family, whatever you call it. But
Soros funds the Tides.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting how that works, isn't it?
It's a philanthropical organization that basically, what Lisa was saying, open society, and I think the Rockefellers, it's just a funnel for them to put money back into whatever cause they are trying to.
But hold on a minute. So 295 million. Mac, help me out with the maths here. So 295 million. And the press, which we know they exaggerate or they reduce depending on who's out there protesting, so if they said that there was 7 million protesting, so how much did they pay on average per person to go out there and protest, Mac? 7 into 295 million.
That's like 4,000.
How ridiculous!
For something, yeah.
How ridiculous! How ridiculous! And one thing, it wasn't value for money, because if you only got, at an exaggerated figure, 7 million for 295 million, and you only got 7 million. That's probably one of the worst investments I've seen, right?
Yeah, I don't
think about it.
I think it was like last time, Lisa, and I did it last time while we were me and Hulk were live on Saturday, and so we showed this No Kings map. You guys remember the very last time we did this, where the days leading up to it, they were like they were everywhere essentially, like all these blops were everywhere, and then on the day of, they were severely reduced. Now they were also reduced this Saturday, but they still were showing a lot more of these. So, my guess is they didn't have as many people show up as they would have liked. And to be honest with you, I'm in a pretty liberal state of Rhode Island here, and I didn't, notice anything, anything. Put it this way.
What are the stars? What are the star ones?
I don't know. Let me see. No Kings Parade Grounds. That's a parade ground. That's Boston. Let's see. Ding ding. That one says No Kings Parade Ground. So I don't know if we have any other ones, but yeah, I didn't even notice that.
That's probably all the payment points.
Anchor events. So maybe like main events or big ones around that area. The No Kings in Washington DC.
Or dragging the older people out of the care homes. They did that, don't you? I mean, there's a video of them getting the older people out of the care homes. It's like, give us a break. Properly desperate, And I'm doubting there were 7 million people, to be honest. So, like in London, the march where there was about 2 or 3 million people, they said that it was like thousands. Yes, because it was for Charlie Kirk and Trump and everything else, and marching against the ID and stuff. And there were definitely a few million there. Definitely, biggest march they've had in London, I would say.
That was huge. Yeah. And these people, I don't think they got the results what they wanted, but also, like Lisa mentioned, what I've seen from the majority of these people, it's like older white people that are in these groups from what I've seen anyways. I'm sure in different areas there are different, makeups and whatnot, but I don't think they got the desired result that they wanted out here. Yeah, they got some people making some ruckus, but at the end of the day, what did they really get done? You know what I mean? So I don't think it was much, to be honest with you.
Not a lot. 295 million.
Nope, nope, not happening. I don't think so. And so let me pull up some other stuff here. And so I don't even know what I've labeled some of these things that I don't even know sometimes when I do this. Oh, this is actually pretty good. So I didn't even know this. I actually clipped this on a little bit later. This is kind of going into kind of talking about I discussed in the last couple of weeks, and we discussed it I think last week too, right? About President Trump getting into heaven. And I think your guys' answer was pretty good in that, he was being humble and, no good deeds do it. But I think that your belief in Jesus Christ, that he died on the cross, is supposed to. So with that in mind, I just wanted to play this out so you guys could hear a minute of this.
You guys know Trump said this much about Jesus?
Our country needs a savior right now, and our country has a savior. And that's not me. That's somebody much higher up than me. Much higher up. But the life and death and resurrection of Jesus Christ forever changed the world. It's impossible to think of the life of our own country without the influence of his example and of his teachings. But none of this could have ever happened without Jesus Christ and his followers and his church. None of it. And we have to remember that Jesus Christ is the ultimate source of our strength and of our hope. Let us thank Almighty God for our nation, for our precious freedoms, and our most of all, and I have to say this, for the gift of God's everlasting mercy and grace. We ask God to bless our nation and our people with faith and hope and love and peace.
Share this video so the truth can reach more. You guys know Trump.
So, sounds like a Christian to me, guys. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Mac or Lisa, but I just thought it interesting to post out because, he was being a little coy, and I think even he said, "Oh, being a little cute," but at the end of the day, Christian, right?
I don't think he wanted to give them like the meat that they could chew up in the press the next day.
Oh yeah, true. Very, very, very true.
And also, he used his own self as an example of what a Christian did through his actions. So I thought that was a really nice way of showing people instead of telling them. Sometimes you must show people. So
being a little bit more humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I did like you guys answer. And thank you, Greg3012, who is Lisa's country mate there over from the UK. Dropped a Rumble Rant $20, says, lovely to hear you all, comma. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Greg.
Greg3012. I wonder if his voice is, I wonder if he's got the same accent as you, or it's more of a Scouser.
Maybe not. Let us know where you're from, Greg, or just the part of the country. You know which part of the country that I'm from.
You'd like your address and your phone number, please? No. We're just playing, of course. But maybe some of you guys have heard, the Israel peace deal is maybe kind of out the window. And, who do we blame this one on, guys? Who do we blame this on?
Well, I posted about it, and I read about it first of all very early in the morning. Obviously, I'm 5 hours ahead of you lot, but it said that some random guys fired at the IDF, and Israel retaliated. And then today I read that Israel dropped 290-something bombs or something. Or I don't remember whether it said pounds or bombs, but it was a lot. It was a lot in retaliation, But the fact that they said it was random and then they said it was Hamas, it made me a little bit suspicious. And also, I was just thinking about the amount of people that don't really want a peace deal. A lot of people are quiet at the moment, because they weren't expecting it, and they're very, very quiet. And the British Prime Minister promptly, after being snubbed by Trump on the stage, went back, had a meeting, and organised a few things that you wouldn't think that he actually supported the peace deal in the way that he acted, But he did a few things. He did a few things that were a bit snidey, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, we had Boris Johnson. He was a big a big wrench in the spoke of the peace agreement over there in Ukraine and Russia. And so, like, they were ready to sign that peace deal, and then Boris Johnson comes over and says, yeah, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden there's no peace deal. And so some people have to understand, and I kind of need to make this because I feel like a lot of people, and this was me when I was kind of looking into this stuff new, right? Like, no, they couldn't do that. Like, because you think the way that you think, right? Like, you could never murder somebody because you're not wired that way. Well, you have to understand, I'm not saying about any country, person, or whatever. I'm just saying about people that are bad in general, okay? What you people have to understand is, you people, I hate even saying that, but what my wonderful audience needs to understand is that these people don't think like us. These people that are wired wrong, that wouldn't think twice about putting a bullet into a baby's head or slitting somebody's throat, they are not wired like we are. They do not think like we think. So you cannot think like, oh, I would never do that. So, this person would never do that. You have to understand that there are people that are wired differently. Now, Mac, let me play this little short clip. It's like 40 seconds. And then I'll take your comments on this. And then I have some other supporting documents as well. And I think, the whole idea that they didn't really want peace is kind of spot on. But listen to this guy, what he says. I think, is he a former? Is always a former, or it says he's an IDF soldier. But listen to what he says here.
We are going to erase Gaza. We have to take the people there and send them to Libya.
What do you see as the future for Gaza?
No future.
A parking lot? A dumping ground?
For what a creative idea.
I do.
Okay, we have agreement. Suddenly they send some missiles. Our people send missiles from inside. And then we said, oh, there is a missile from Gaza. So now we can answer them.
So you think that's also something that's possible?
Everything is possible. We are going to erase Gaza.
Okay, so Mac, he says, hey, we'll send a missile, we'll send some people out, we'll send a missile, and it looks like it's Gaza, right? But and then some people will say, well, they would never do that. Well, we know for sure that Bibi Netanyahu authorized, what was it, $1 billion a month or $30 million a month or something for Qatar to give to Hamas because they wanted to split, in theory, they wanted to split the Hamas leadership from the Palestinian leadership. So to think that they wouldn't do these things is, people are kind of kidding themselves.
Well, I feel like there's been some really big developments past week, which, a strategy that I think has been well known if you study like World War II is that certain entities played both sides of the war, and those entities weren't just like countries. What that seems like, there were also corporations, and those corporations are ran by people, and those people probably had babies. So this strategy has been known for some time. So what he's basically saying is that they're going to incense a war. Well, one thing that I think Trump's been able to do, and I don't know how many people have recognized it, but he's been able to bring all the other people together around for peace. So if they start stepping out of line, they have now military means to go in and stop the violence. I don't know what's written into it. I think it's classified on that end, but there's a clip that President Trump did talk about. I think we have 59 countries is what he says when he's talking about Hamas and them breaking the peace treaty. So I'm really curious to see how this all plays out. It's but it has been exposure that Netanyahu possibly, like we've said, could have funded. Well, it's been reported that he funded Hamas originally, but allowed Hamas to attack Israel. This would make sense because he wants to stay in power. Now, whether or not it's true, it's still up for a little bit debate, but it seems like it's being exposed.
Yeah, well, the Hamas right now are probably at their weakest because they've lost their money sources. They're cut off from Iran and all of that. They've got all of the pressure from all of the surrounding Middle East countries and Indonesian Muslim countries, by the way. So out of war, what would you do?
Surround your enemy. Tortoise formation, Lisa. Tortoise formation.
Potentially attack when they're at their weakest. because there's not a lot they can do. They can't get any more munitions in there, can they? They can't really buy anymore because they haven't got the money. I don't know.
A lot of weapons are unavailable too. Especially through the Russia war.
Venezuela was, I think, they're a proxy too for China. So, cutting off that means, Venezuela is just a huge trafficking country, it seems like. So I don't know what it all entails, but I would say that they're probably along the way. What's that, Lisa?
I still think the deep state are behind a lot of these organizations and kind of rebel countries and the trafficking. I really do.
Oh, 100%.
I think that, because like Venezuela, it's the perfect place for people to go and hide and do things and stockpile and, because they can manipulate. They can take advantage of the situation. And it potentially, they're involved in it. I mean, look at how Maduro got in, who was it Dominion voting machines, or was it was it Smartmatic? Smartmatic. That's how they started, apparently, in Venezuela. And we know that they all work together. So I would wonder. I would wonder what's really going on in Venezuela. Even if it is being used as a proxy, it's like, what for? Where are all the people that are disappearing going to? I don't know. I just got some thoughts on that, as if there's much more nefarious things going on than what we know.
Yeah. Big time. And and actually, before we go, Greg, thank you, Greg, again. He dropped another Rumble rant, but I was saying you didn't have to. I was looking for it, but he did drop another Rumble rant. But Greg3012 said he's Barrow in Furness, Cumbria, Northern England. Much love to Lisa, Mike, and Lizzie.
Woohoo! Another Northerner.
That you're from the north.
Good to meet you, Greg.
You're from the north as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yes, I am. Absolutely. We're both from the northwest.
Tell them the north remembers. The north remembers.
Aye.
All right, so good. A couple of northerners. This is a short one. We've played it, but since we're talking about Venezuela, maybe I shouldn't have, but we'll play this really quick anyways. I just thought the language at the very end for any little ones, you can earmuff them at the last 5 seconds.
Things are happening around the world, I'll say that.
Mr. President, it has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do in order to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody.
Boom. And by all accounts, they do have, operators on standby, essentially, like the drops used to tell us. Operators are on standby with Venezuela.
The Night Stalkers. He deployed the Night Stalkers, special ops.
And B-52 bombers.
They're a submarine. Well, 6,500 troops.
Yeah, and I was listening to, what was it, the Prometheus thing about how Venezuela is like a proxy war for China and America essentially right now. I don't see how Venezuela can actually survive that whatsoever, but I thought that was interesting comment.
Very interesting. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get back into that. Not one of my favorite guys right here. I'm about to play, guys. And it's from the Cappy video. Saying he was going to get some money from. He was getting some money from Epstein as well here. But I think the message that is within this, I don't have to agree or like people to take information that I find useful. So I think you're going to hear some stuff that I think we kind of all thought as well. But let's take a listen. I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well on. What he's saying about the CIA head, John Ratcliffe, after this.
What they said about the Central Intelligence Agency is what I've been saying on this show from the beginning, and it came from their mouths now. Witkoff is briefed 3 times a day by the CIA, and they lie to him. This is not some marginal mistake in intelligence. He sat right there. They lied to him 3 times a day. Hamas doesn't want to do the deal, never going to do the deal. That's the Mossad talking. That's Netanyahu talking. Ratcliffe should resign today, or let's just have a congressional hearing, right, on national television, and let's just put it out there exactly about what you told these people in the negotiation, and let's go back to what you told the President of the United States about the beginning of the 12-day war, because that was a lie also, as now we know by the Times of Israel putting out the cabinet minutes of the war cabinet of Netanyahu. They were 2 years away, not 2 days, not 2 weeks, 2 years, of which he copped a half of that on Brett Baer on that Sunday night. We said, yeah, it's 6 months, 9 months, it's a year. Wasn't 2 days, wasn't 2 weeks, it was 2 years. Basically, there ain't no emergency. There was an emergency to kill the negotiators, of which they did, so that Witkoff couldn't have a meeting in Muscat, Oman on that Sunday. Why? Because the Mossad controls the CIA. Thank God for Tulsi Gabbard. They tried to run Tulsi Gabbard out of this city. You talk about courage. You talk about a profile in courage. It's Tulsi Gabbard and her team over there at DNI. She testified to Congress. She went on and talked in the media. She was vilified. And this is Israel First crowd trying to run a patriot out of town because she's telling the truth to the commander-in-chief.
So I think we got the general gist of that, and I think what he's saying might hold some validity as far as go check the record, right? Because we can go back and we can see what people were being briefed on, essentially. Like what were the CIA people briefing Witkoff on this day, on that day, on that day, and then they can maybe go back and check with the other side and say, listen, was this the truth or not? I historically have liked Ratcliffe. I don't like the fact that he's very pro-Israel, and I don't like the fact that any of these people are very pro-Israel. I think if you're working in our government, that you should be obviously American first and wanting to take care of America first. And I'm a big believer in that until we get our country squared away 100%, like, you know, let's take care of all the food, the medical, the homeless people, the education. Let's make sure our country is tip-top before we go out there and influencing other countries and paying off other countries' debts and giving so much money to all these other countries. Like, nope, stop it all. But as far as the CIA stuff goes, Mac, we'll go with you first on this one. Any thoughts on any of this stuff, Ratcliffe, and, you know, of course, you know, them trying to stop the peace or whatever the case may have been? So I don't know. Any thoughts on what I posted or said in general?
I just Bannon altogether. He's a shifty guy. He's also known as Beijing Bannon by some people. He's been, you know, all over the place with accusations. When there's no, you know, you don't have enough evidence to actually draw to some conclusions, you know, other than, you know, opinions. Can't bring him to justice. He wants to have, you know, Ratcliffe up there. I think there's some sort of strategy that they're obviously employing here. You know, it's not Bannon's strategy. And, you know, he used to be a staffer of Trump and he got fired. So there's a reason why that all happened too. It gets a little confusing when you get down to it. So I just try to stick to the facts and not try to stray off too much. And I think he's asking too much, and he always tries to drum up the emotions too. And you know, I'll leave it there.
You know, he definitely does try to draw up the emotional strings there. I agree with that for sure. And I'm not the biggest fan of this guy in general. But Lisa, any thoughts on this thing?
Yeah, I think that, you know, like things should be fair. So, you know, the amount of influence that Israel has on the United States, you know, the amount of politicians that are being paid by one group that isn't registered as a foreign like association, you know, that maybe should be, because we know it's Israeli kind of thing. I just think that things should be fairer, you know, and it just doesn't seem, the optics don't present it that way, let's say, you know? So I don't know. I think it'd be worth looking into how things came about, you know, if there is anything there, if there is anything there, you know, but I just think things could be fairer, because it does seem as if Israel has an unfair advantage when it comes to influencing what the United States does. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that there shouldn't be a peace deal and all of that, and it doesn't mean I'm against what President Trump has done. It's just that, you know, I think things should be fair, because I'm a fair type of person, you know? And
absolutely,
I don't know. I just think things could be fairer.
I just
And
wish
maybe
it was
that
all
needs
this.
a
Okay.
yeah, because I'm a little bit biased actually, because you know, in the UK and they want to bring in the digital ID and stuff like that, and it turns out I watched a video the other day, and it was Larry Ellison, and Larry Ellison was saying, "Oh, we can control what people do and all that." Basically, he was talking about the social credit system and about how they're going to run things, and about AI is going to do all of that. And it's like, yeah, well, that's been tried in a couple of countries and it hasn't really worked. So the only one it seems to work is like China, you know, the social credit system I'm talking about. And then it turns out that, you know, Larry Ellison is really friendly with Tony Blair. Tony Blair, you know, deemed a war criminal in the UK, by the way. You know, Larry Ellison gave, I think it was 274 million to Tony Blair's foundation. Tony Blair's son has a company called, by the way, when it was a startup, it was called White Hat.
Really?
And that company is due to produce the ID cards and get the contract. And then Tony Blair's pictured with Larry Ellison. Tony Blair's been pushing the digital ID for many years. He's pictured with Larry Ellison on a boat and all of that. They're good friends. Larry Ellison is probably one of the biggest donors to Israel that there is. Larry Ellison is also on that committee, that board, whatever it's called, that is going to be running TikTok. And the Israelis have been saying that they're going to make sure that people aren't going to say bad things about Israel, you know, on TikTok. And it's just like, you know, it's like we're supposed to sort all of these things out. And I just think that there needs to be a little bit of investigation into undue influence. Yes?
Absolutely.
Because it seems that, you know, Palantir are getting all of the flack for the digital ID, and Palantir have already said that they don't want the contract. So, you know, those people are working together, and it's just like, you know, come on, give us a break. Give us a break. Anyway, I think the European Court of Human Rights might have something to say about the digital ID, because it will be discriminatory by its nature. And you can't discriminate against asylum seekers and illegal migrants. So there's a couple of legal things that they need to get over. So we all just need to say no, yes? And we need to say no to the European central bank digital currency as well. Just don't buy it, don't use it. You know, you don't have to. There's loads of choices out there, loads of alternatives. But I think we can trip them up. But this is their big control system, and that's what we've got to keep an eye on, you know? So whilst we're all going, oh, Trump's winning and all of that, it's like there's a huge control system that they're setting up here. And they've already started to put the carbon measures on food, by the way, in the UK. Carbon measures. So it's like, what, you're going to try and control what we eat? Remember about cows letting out the methane and all of that kind of thing?
Yeah? Then we found out cows can't fart, apparently.
I saw a video, and it was this rancher, and he said that cows actually have been proven to be negatively carbon, so they're actually good for the earth. So that whole thing, and I think was it the myth that cows fart? They actually don't fart. So
something about the way their stomachs are made. Now, if I was to ask everybody about Iran, right, what would you think? Well, the first thing that I think of is like, well, they hate America, they hate Israel, they want everybody wiped off the planet,
No.
right? Yeah, it's very
No.
contrary to that. Listen to this minute and a half. This is crazy. And this is the very beginning where you have crazy Ted Cruz out there like, yeah, they just want to kill all the Jews and, the typical rhetoric. But listen to what this guy's got to say. This is pretty crazy.
That's who Iran wants to kill, is all the Jews.
Iran's intent to exterminate the Jewish people.
In the Islamic Republic of Iran, the second largest Jewish population in the Middle East outside of Israel.
Wait. Iran has the second highest Jewish population outside of Israel, and yet we're being convinced that they just want to kill all Jews? It sounds like they're doing a pretty bad job if that's the case.
We've been in Iran for 2,700 years.
2,700 years? They've been doing a terrible job if that's their goal.
Ayun Someya is the president of the Tehran Jewish Committee.
In Iran, we have complete freedom to carry out our religious duties.
It's funny, in Israel, only Jewish people have the right to carry out their religious duties.
There's a lot more religious diversity in this country than many people know about. For instance, in Isfahan alone, there are 13 synagogues.
Chair Behravan used to live in New York City. One thing he values in Iran, he says, is the absence of anti-Semitism.
I feel safer here than probably United States.
It's almost like the Western media has lied to us for over 30 years.
Is the head of Isfahan's Jewish community, and he says we consider ourselves Iranian Jews, not Israeli Jews.
I cannot live without Iranian culture.
This highlights that we have to be very careful about our language and realize that talking about the Israeli government is different than talking about Jews.
Is an elected member of Iran's parliament.
My decision about Israel based on the Iranian national interest. Everyone who is enemy of my country is enemy of me.
Well, that will send shockwaves through what you thought you knew.
Not at all, actually. I think that just cements it, because throughout history, the Jews and the Muslims have actually lived together. What about the Middle East, right? I'm pretty sure that there is some kind of, I don't know, it's called the Scroll of Benjamin or something like that. But anyway, there is some scroll that says that, the Muslims must look after the Jews, They don't really discriminate against the Jews. Our modern view is that they do. But actually, they remember Israel before Israel was created. The Muslims used to go to the mosque on a Friday, and the Jews would look after their children, and the Jews would go to the synagogue on Saturday, and the Muslims would look after the children. It was only like 1948 when the Zionists came in, and it all completely changed. And that part of the world had always been, it's tribal. It had always been fought over, But here we go, the Brits again. We created Iraq, I think it was. Is it Iraq? Yeah, we created Iraq, and we created Israel as well. We just love going in there and stirring up the,
So what's the real reason? What's the real reason that we want to go? Why is it that they want to take Iran out of power? Is it something to do with their banking system? You think, Lisa?
Well, they don't have a central bank that belongs to the cabal, and have a look at where all the wars are. Every time somebody wants to do some kind of peace, it doesn't happen. Like North and South Sudan, they were ready to make peace. They got loads of oil and all of that kind of thing. All of a sudden, all the people get killed as they're going for a meeting in a helicopter or a plane. Didn't some people get killed from Qatar on their way to Israel for the peace deal? Yes. Yeah, the representatives. I mean, it is very highly suspicious, but also that, they want the world in chaos because that suits them, Meanwhile, they can get on with their snidey moves, so to speak. But, look at Turkey. Turkey, you've got the Hagia Sophia. You've got Muslims and Christians worshipping in the same place. That's not really supposed to happen, but it is. It is happening right now. Look at how much time the Pope spends in Turkey. I think Erdogan's son was educated in Italy, actually.
Wow, and
Very close to the Pope.
Yeah, and just to your point here, yes, Iran has a central bank named the Central Bank of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Established in 1960, responsible for monetary policy, issuing currency, and overseeing the country's banking system. It's also the banker to the government, holding its accounts and performing functions for state entities. And that's the whole thing. And man, I was just looking for it really quickly, but you remember that it was a guy, I think he may have been one of the guys who was in on one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff meeting or something, talking about 10, 15 years ago, talking about their Middle East plan and how they were going to go after one country and then the next and then the next. But at the end of the day, it's all about controlling these countries, right? And it's once we can get them to be under our banking system, then we can control them, right? I care not what laws a country makes. Just show me, who runs the money. Or I know that was like a Rothschild quote that I just completely butchered. But essentially, they don't care about the laws and the rules. They care about who runs the money, and that's what it really is all about, right there. And these countries that are not inside of the what we know as our central bank, World Bank, and Federal Reserve systems, they want to make sure everybody's in on this. You guys ever notice too? By the way, whenever they talk about the Federal Reserves, they'll say, yeah, they're going in cooperation with the Federal Reserve. The United States Federal Reserve, and then they say the Federal Reserve of New York, and it's actually a different entity. But the whole thing of it is that these people want everything to be under their system, and as you can see, they will stop at nothing until they get where they want to be. So, I mean, that's something that we need to put the elephant in the room, out on blast on these people. It's we understand what you're trying to do. It's just let them be their own thing. And did we play it last week? If not, I know I played it on another show, the whole thing with Gaddafi, right? That butcher, that evil man. And well, dude, he was handing out money for people that were having kids, people that just got married, free education. And then we know about Hillary. We came, we saw, he died. Ha ha ha. And it's wow, you just took out what apparently was a good person for that country. So
wasn't he just trying to go over to the gold standard?
Big mistake.
He was setting up a new gold standard using African gold. So he wanted Africa to kind of come together. Africa's got a lot of gold, and they would create their own currency. And that was the problem. Imagine all those countries together. It's you could put the BRICS aside, it'd probably fit in their pocket.
Yeah, just ask Burkina Faso and France.
Not to mention gold or anything, but it just reached a $30 trillion cap this past week.
It's getting out of it's I've talked about this a couple of times, guys, and so let's take a look at it. And so the reason, right, why are gold prices going crazy? Is it the value of the gold is just going up, or is it the value of the dollar is going down? And their inability, in my opinion, to hide what they've been doing, this little shell game that they've been playing for years, which is, all right, well, we're down to our last ton of gold. Well, we're going to have to start raising the prices because there's not much of it left. Oh, wait, we just received, 10,000 tons on paper, right? And that's what they've been doing historically, saying, we just received a bunch of gold or we just received a bunch of silver on paper. But I think as we go and as these AI computer systems start to implement themselves with this stuff, I think it's going to be harder for these people to block what they've been doing, and they can't keep playing this shell game forever. I mean, guys, $1,700 in 2019 was this right here. Now it's $4,300, and coincidentally, 17 and 17, it was $1,700 for gold and $17 for silver, which is now what, 50 something? 51.37. It was 53 the other day. If I'm not mistaken, it went up to $53, $54. I thought it did anyway. But what are you guys' thoughts on this stuff in general?
Well, I think we covered a little bit of it last week with the banks. They because of President Trump, they have to show so much assets in their banks now.
Yes.
So they are now buying up gold and silver. I think, was it Lisa you were talking about how they're not allowed to short the silver anymore? They used to like do shorts and gains, and
Well, they've held back the price of silver for a long time. You know, I think that they need a solid asset as well, which gold is a solid asset because inflation is making the fiat money kind of reduce its value. Let's say, you know. Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
This is good. I mean, so what people have to understand is like when they put a short on something, like because this is the problem that they're trying to put shorts on. Let's just say silver, right? And basically they're taking out shorts on say 40, 45, right? So they're buying gold essentially at 45, and then every bit of it that goes up, they're responsible to pay off the difference of that. So when it goes up rather than down, that's when they screw themselves because now it's, say if they got it for 45, well there's $6 on each ounce right there that they have to make up. That was kind of the whole deal with the what was that, GameStop, where we were running the shorts on GameStop forever. So yeah, it's
they monopolized the market essentially.
Yeah.
And the other thing about silver, it's used in a lot of manufacturing products, like technological products, computers, and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's going to become more valuable, and we've all talked about it and predicted it. This will probably, hopefully, when it connects to the U.S. dollar in some way, it'll be part of that process. But we'll see. Everyone just thinks it's going to be gold. It could be other things.
Also, I always think about, which countries have silver, and so they obviously want to try and keep control. But, if they've got resources that are worth a fortune, that's not quite control, is it? I don't know when it was, but I know that somebody stopped the monopolizing of the silver market a long time ago, I think 2 American brothers or something was supposedly trying to monopolize the silver market, and somebody who was a professor of mathematics, I believe, and he was also a gambler, and he used to look at the grain of wood on the roulette tables, and he could predict what was going to happen, and he flew around the world making loads of money, but he also discovered a pattern and figured out that some people were trying to monopolize the silver market. Wow. But they have been for a long time. It's only now that it's kind of free, But
the Hunt brothers, here.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Sorry?
It's the Hunt brothers, Nelson and William Herbert Hunt. They tried to corner the silver market in the late 70s and early 80s, but their attempt failed and led to a market collapse on Silver Thursday. They amassed huge quantities of physical silver and silver future contracts, causing the price to spike from $11 to nearly $50 an ounce. However, the Commodities Future Trading Commission intervened by imposing new trading rules, which, combined with their inability to meet a large margin call, caused a catastrophic price crash in March of 1980. So yeah, they thought they were going to corner the market on it back then, but yeah, got it up to 50 in early 1980s. Which is probably where it should have been, you know what I mean? Without all the games that they were playing. It should be, in my opinion, it should be a lot closer to gold because, not only for the reasons that Mac was mentioning earlier, you have a lot of things in solar stuff now, medical equipment, electronics all over the place. So yeah, it's very much needed. And let's see. So I don't know if we want to touch on Israel anymore. I mean, I think we got the peace deal thing done pretty good. Kind of staying in your neck of the woods, I guess, Lisa. And I gotta start labeling. I gotta start labeling my things better because I just wrote UK anti-free speech. This was my label on this one. So here's a minute, and I couldn't believe. Well, I kind of knew this was going to be the answer, but I didn't know it would be by so much. But take a listen to this one.
the countries with the highest numbers of arrests for online comments in 2023. Hungary is at 10. Okay, you know what? Maybe it was like a death threat, right? You made a death threat on someone, you were arrested. Okay, Azerbaijan, which is probably not the most democratic country, is 13. Saudi Arabia, which is definitely not the most democratic country, is at 15. Egypt, 20. Vietnam, 45. The US with 340 million people, 50, right? So on and so forth. We get to the United Kingdom. Guess how many?
Tell us.
12,183 arrests for online comments in 2023. That is twice the amount of Belarus, a dictatorial authoritarian regime, at 6,205. More than China at 1,500. More than Russia. We love to say Russia, Russia, Russia. They're mean, they're bad. Putin's a dictator. Only 400 in Russia. Russia seems like a free speech heaven compared to the United Kingdom. This is what people don't fucking realize. This is ludicrous, and it's coming to your neighborhood real quick.
Oof. 13, what was it? 13,000, Lisa?
12,183.
Wow.
And it's been very high. And more recently, there was a comedian. Well, I think he's a comedian, but he's also a writer. And, you know, he's done a lot of stuff on television. He lives partly in the States, partly in the UK. And he was arrested when he came back from the US not that long ago by armed police at the airport because he said, if you see I think he used the word tranny in the women's toilets and blah-de-blah-de-blah, give him a punch. Yeah? Because he's breaking the law or something like that. Let me tell you, they arrested him at the airport as soon as he touched down.
Don't go get yourself arrested, Lisa.
Yeah, and then they listen. It's like anyway, I'm not even going to go there. But you know, then he nearly had a stroke, so his blood pressure went up. They had to take him to hospital, and I think they threw him in jail. And there was a lot of hoo-ha about it. And these top lawyers got together and they'd been fighting it. And the police have dropped the case. The police are saying that they're not sure what the law is, you know, around this because of Keir Starmer. You know, Keir Starmer just doesn't want anybody to criticize him. You know, they arrested a politician's wife. She was in prison for 18 months for putting out a tweet and immediately taking it down. And she got arrested and put away for 18 months. It is absolutely ridiculous. And remember, Andrew, Andrew, Prince Andrew, all right, so he asked his Secret Service, bodyguards, whatever you want to call it, anyway, it's the police, to investigate Virginia Giuffre and see whether he could find any dirt on her. There is an email, and one of his Secret Service or, you know, protection, close protection, which is done by the Metropolitan Police, has spoken up. So I think he's in trouble yet once more. But it's like this, it is out of hand, and there have been a lot of arrests for ridiculous things. And they have literally been going into people's homes and dragging them out for just stupid things like a difference in opinion. You're supposed to be able to have an opinion, even if it's kind of, you know, at loggerheads with somebody else. But apparently you're not allowed to take a view on illegals, so the migrants, and also the trannies. So people were being arrested. Teachers have lost their jobs originally for saying or calling somebody by, you know, him, her, or Joseph and Mary instead of them. No joke. But the Supreme Court ruled at the beginning of this year that that is not possible anymore. There are only two genders. So the government is supposed to be rolling back, but he's kind of left this in place. But now the Metropolitan Police have said they're not going to arrest people and that it needs to be sorted out because they've been taking a lot of flack because they've been going around arresting people. You know, so there's a reporter stood outside the Chinese embassy because there was a Chinese spy case. The guys were absolutely guilty. They had all the evidence, and the government would not say that China was a threat. So guess what? They walked free, and they've been giving away British secrets for years, straight out of number 10. Yes, the highest classification. They've been giving it away for years, and they walked away scot-free. But yet somebody's arrested for putting out a tweet or saying that they're you know, that maybe they don't like transgenders or whatever, you know.
That's crazy. And Lisa, so this is just really quick. We're showing here on the screen that Prince Andrew just got his royal titles removed, including Duke, to a discussion with Charles about the allegations of Prince Andrew with Jeffrey Epstein and blah 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 blah. What was it like a year or two ago where I was like, am I listening to like deja vu? I don't think he had his stuff officially removed, but he was kind of like separated from the family in a certain way a couple of years ago. Am I remembering incorrectly?
It was the Queen. Yeah, no, you're right. It was the Queen. When the Queen was alive, basically she took him off all royal duties, and she paid the 12 million to Virginia Giuffre for him. Remember? She was taking him to court, and he settled. Well, it was the Queen that settled it. And they signed an NDA, or she signed an NDA to say that she won't talk about it for 1 year because they didn't want it to spoil some kind of anniversary or whatever. You know?
Okay, so I was remembering it in a certain way. Okay.
Yeah.
And now the comedian, was that Graham Linehan that got arrested?
Yes, it was. Yes, yeah.
Non-prosecution.
He's still going to take them to court, though. Fantastic.
That was going to be my question. It sounds like this is set up for some lawsuits.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, testing. We just Starmer blatantly lied to Trump, saying, "Oh, we really believe in free speech," and you know, you got all these people get arrested. It's like, where are the lawsuits? There's got to be some sort of fight back from the people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But what's been happening is people literally have been jailed. Literally. They're dragged out of their house and they are jailed for non-crime hate speech or something. It's something stupid like that, or inciting hate, you know? That's what they get them for, inciting hate. And it's Starmer that's been pushing this. It's Starmer that has been pushing this. And I'm sure it's because he doesn't want to be criticized because... Go on.
How much money do they have? I mean, it sounds like a shakedown other than other things, but, you know, this is like communism, but it sounds like they're trying to shake down people for money and arrest them. I mean, is there, other than, does it go on the record? Is it a violation? Yeah. Everything.
Yeah, it would go on their record, and they'd probably get a fine as well. You know, usually you've got to pay a fine as well as getting put away. But a lot of people have been arrested. Literally, if you just go on YouTube or TikTok or something like that, and just type in a search, you'll see loads of videos of people where the police have entered their house and they've dragged them out, and also young people, old people, you know, all ages, women. That politician's wife that got arrested for and jailed for 18 months. She's only just got out. A politician's wife, you know. Just I don't know. But a lot of people stuck up for this guy, Linehan, you know. And he's, I think he's the writer of like Father Ted and something else. The Father Ted's really funny TV series about some Irish priest. You know,
I had to do a little moderating on my YouTube channel for people talking about somebody who's not even in this video. So we're just removing a little bit of ridiculousness for no reason. But in any event, we are moving on. So, you know, we kind of talked about President Trump. I mean, and so I don't know which way we should go with this one. We had a shooter today, right? Or an alleged shooter. Do you guys find anything weird about this whole situation? About this is very weird to me. Let's listen to a little bit of this, and I'll take your guys' thoughts on this, because I just found it to be a little odd here.
Learning that a convicted felon was allegedly planning to shoot up the Atlanta airport today, the world's busiest airport, armed with an AR-15. And that suspect reportedly did get inside the airport before police quickly stopped him. So here's a live look at Hartsfield-Jackson right now. And here's what we know. Our affiliate source says that this felon did a FaceTime call with family members, allegedly telling them his plans to shoot up the Atlanta airport. Someone reportedly notified police after that call, who then found the suspect's car outside of the airport. It was blocking traffic, but the suspect was not inside. Police reportedly did end up finding the felon inside of the airport. They grabbed him, took him into custody, and authorities reportedly found that AR-15 while searching his car. Our Fox affiliate is also reporting that they had a camera at the airport all morning. It was very busy, and nobody saw anything. So it seems this whole incident was kept pretty quiet, but we're hoping to learn more from APD very soon. There is a press conference scheduled for about 15 minutes from now, but obviously a lot of questions as to how this supposed convicted felon got his hands on that high-powered semi-automatic rifle. And this, of course, all happening during a government shutdown where airports nationwide are struggling to stay staffed. And if you know anything about the Atlanta airport, you know it's
Yeah, and we know, convicted felons are not supposed to have guns, and we know, well, how did he get a gun? Oh, because criminals, what's that thing criminals do? Oh, they don't follow the law, right? They don't follow the law. Did you guys catch the part two where she was, I don't know if it was this one or another one, right here. Police found the felon inside the airport and found the AR-15 while searching his car.
Yeah.
So
the guy was in the airport and the gun was in the car there. So it just sounds like a concerned family member or friend called that in because he was probably unstable. And there you go. I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he's so crazy. He's gonna go shoot up the airport that he left the gun in the car. It's like, thankfully he did. If this story is even, if it is even legit. But we do know the part that they like to, that they do like to repeat and say
at the end about the security stuff, and it's just like, all right, they had to throw that in there.
Exactly. Amid the government shutdown, where airports are blah blah blah. It's like, oh please, all right. And every time we have a plane crash,
donate at the end too.
Every time we have a plane crash, they're going to say, oh, it's because of Trump's shutdown. It's blah, 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 blah. But, I think this one, this one is from last night, I believe. This one is from 2 nights ago. No progress on funding as Trump cuts programs amid shutdown. Let's see, a little minute from John Solomon here. But I'm liking what they're doing here, guys. And the idea that, oh no, nothing's getting done. Well, nothing's getting done that the bad guys want to get done. That's for sure.
Begin to dispel that distrust in the American public with the FBI, and also to reinstill trust in the agents on the front lines that they're going to do the job the way the book says it should be done.
Well, first of all, it's going to be done through action and deed. What you're going to see is the FBI operating in a manner that is honest, and objective, and apolitical, and professional. That's what it's going to take, and it's going to have to be all the time, every time. And the culture of the FBI is being shifted right now by the director and the senior leadership of the organization. They have to be uncompromising in their standards and expectations for FBI agents to conduct their business on behalf of the American people in line with the Constitution and in the service of the laws of our country.
I got a question for you, Mac and Lisa. How many arrests is enough? How many pounds, kilos of drugs is enough until, and I don't think it'll ever happen, right? Like the other side, they're never going to stop talking trash about cash and, these podcasters and blah, blah, blah. Dan Bongino is a podcaster. Of course, they forget him working for the Secret Service and an NYPD officer as well. But what's going to be good enough to get these people to, and of course I'm talking about the Democrats and whatnot that just complain about all the things that they're doing. What would be enough? And I guess the answer, probably to answer my own question, is nothing will ever be enough, right? Because we're in this dichotomy where you have, simply because it's the other side, they don't ever want to give credit. And I really wish there was a way that we could all brainstorm, and I'm open for ideas, and I'm always looking through the comment section for a way that we can get this country working better. Like, the whole idea of the two-party system, it really, really ticks me off, because for that reason, let's just say me and Mac are on the other side from each other. It's like, well, Mac just put in a proposal that's going to, raise rates for people or raise their pay and make their insurance less or whatever. But you know what? He's on the other side, so I can't vote for that. I can't vote for, in good faith, for somebody on the other side. Like, this whole other side thing, and we're very guilty of it too. Like, I've probably said it 10 times during this show, right? The other side, the other side. At the end of the day, they're all human beings. And I kind of debate at time, what percentage of those people are basically just NPCs and don't think about or don't think internally. Like, are a lot of these people just on NPC mode where they're just living their life, meal to dinner to go home or whatever, but they don't do any introspection. So what's going to be enough? It'll never be enough. And so I really wish that we could find a way to bring our country together. And you would think that a lot of these things that they're doing would help, and you would think that they would help wake these people up a lot faster. However, it's not, right? Like, we talked about the kids, we've talked about the crime, and I think the idea that a lot of the awakening right now is happening because of what we're seeing here. And the FBI is actually still arresting a lot of people with a lot less people. They're still removing a lot of drugs off the streets, but yet we still have people on the other side just complaining all day like they're doing nothing, right? And we hear it in the hearings all the time. So sorry for that little rant, but I really wish there was a way that we could get our country working better. And I think for most countries as well, like, the whole two-party system thing needs to go out the window. So I don't know, Mac or Lisa, if you guys have any thoughts on that one.
I just know that I remember them doing it for a reason, and I just know that in other countries, multiple parties ends up not working very well. You have a lot of more division than you do have unity. So when you have, I say we have a three-party system. I know the independents are not a huge chunk of the population, but they do make a difference in the elections, believe it or not. And it brings people together under certain values and systems that they believe in. But I think the party system's been ruined by the left to make it, a cultural thing, and it not be about the law. All of a sudden we got to worry about, like, 1% of the population is better than the remaining, and I'm talking about the transsexual population. We know that something's wrong. So, that's my take.
You got 1% of the people that need kitty litter boxes to use the bathroom. Yeah, and so it is. Lisa, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that one. How about, let me float this one out to you. How about a one-party system? Right, I think that would probably end up turning into a two-party system anyway. But, like, we all vote for one spot.
You wouldn't have a republic.
Yeah, it's such a tough thing to attack.
You need to probably, get rid of the Constitution if you were going to do that. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying it's just not possible with the republic.
Yeah, it's just like probably thousands of years of trial and error and research. So I find it very interesting, but there was definitely a lot of rhyme to the reason why they did what they did. And if we did change that, does that change anything in our Constitution, or is that just a technicality?
Yeah. No. It's wholly. I'm not saying they actually physically say a two-party system, but the mechanism for governing a republic, people need to be able to vote. Elections are definitely part of your Constitution, and the election of a president, and then it all goes from there.
Yeah, there wasn't any mention of party system, was there?
I don't believe so.
No, but if you did, then you'd probably have something. You'd have a dictator, and you'd have somebody that would be able to dictate. So you would lose your republic because it wouldn't be by the people. It would be by selection, kind of thing.
True.
So you'd have a ruler, and you got rid of a ruler, like the King of England. That was the whole point of having a republic. Do you see what I mean? So it would be kind of taking you back a few centuries.
And to the beginning of the show, no kings.
Yes, hail to the king. I got an interesting one for you here. And Lisa, I know I'm gonna play yours right after this one. I think this is like a 3 or 4 minute video, but I'm only playing the first 1 minute or a minute and a half max. That's what my show notes say here. It says 1.5 minutes. Where is it? There we go. 1.5 minutes. Here we go. Ding ding. The voice. So listen to this. This is a little bit older. Oh, sorry, it's a 9-minute video, but we're still only listening to a minute and a half. And then Lisa will know why once it starts playing.
Pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was arrested. So why do we still know nothing about him? Well, we're finding out tonight some answers. The Wall Street Journal just got its hands on Jeffrey Epstein's private calendar. And it was a lot more suspicious than Brett Kavanaugh's. Epstein was meeting with the kind of people you'd think would steer clear of a convicted pedophile. Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with one of Barack Obama's top lawyers, Catherine Rumler. She met with Epstein dozens of times. Epstein even tried to set up Obama's lawyer to work for Bill Gates. How is Jeffrey Epstein a fixer between Obama's lawyer and Bill Gates? Epstein was also meeting with Joe Biden's CIA director. He wasn't CIA director at the time. He was Barack Obama's deputy secretary of state. William Burns was working for John Kerry at the State Department and meeting with Jeffrey Epstein, a known pedophile. And then Burns becomes CIA director. Today's director of the CIA went to Epstein's Manhattan townhouse where Epstein had sex with underage girls and, where he filmed other men having sex with underage girls. And William Burns went there and was then promoted to the director of the CIA. Now, I wonder if the future CIA director saw the portrait of Bill Clinton in a blue dress hanging in Epstein's parlor room.
It makes you wonder, is him going to the island, them getting some dirt on him, and then saying, now we can trust him, right, Lisa? Because but you found an interesting person to add to the list.
I did. You can get that up, but it's to me, it is absolutely obvious that like the one thing that everybody's stepping away from and not covering and just focusing on, the girls and all of that, which I'm not saying isn't important, but it's like, well, why would the CIA director? Because Epstein was a money launderer. Come on, people. People are failing to mention it. It's obvious to me that he was the man to go to if you wanted money laundering. Now, who would want money laundering? Well, quite a lot of people, and the CIA. The CIA were always doing that, remember? And then also, doing people favors and all of that kind of thing. No, Epstein was right in there. And I think that what is not being said is about the money laundering, and I don't know why. Somebody needs to look into it and sort it out. Because now I'm getting sick of hearing it. I feel like it's like things that are being thrown to distract me from that thought. All of the shell companies he had, why did Bill Gates give him all of that money? Set up a foundation, Leon Black, all these different people. Come on, what have they all got in common? Money.
Lots of money, yeah.
Yeah, lots of money, all of them. So come on, do your job. Money laundering. Let's hear it. Let's have it. Yeah, been doing it for a long time.
There was some new information that was released. I guess Epstein bankrolled Sarah Ferguson, which is Prince Andrew's ex-wife.
Wow.
He's been
15 years.
Yeah, 15 years, a lot of money. But it did come out. It's just that what actually was the new thing was that she, after her and Andrew said that they would break ties with Jeffrey Epstein, she wrote to Jeffrey Epstein and she said, my friend and all of this kind of thing. And I'm so sorry for like calling you out, because obviously to the press, she was like, oh, bad man. And then behind everybody's back, she was like, oh, Jeffrey, and Sarah Ferguson, she's known for like, hanging around with people with money. I think her father slept around, Major Ferguson. She's not done too badly. Remember the guy sucking her toes and all of that kind of thing? The Texas businessman and stuff. Well, she's been getting loads from Epstein, and every time she's in trouble, she goes and finds somebody to give her money. Well, that's over right now. Also, she took her children, her two daughters, Eugenie, and I can't remember the name of the other one, to visit Epstein as well, after he was convicted. So she's just as bad as Andrew. And she's probably got just, the letters that she's written to Epstein. Those are out. They have those. And it's not looking good. So those two are out of the fold. Really, they should probably be exiled, literally, because there's more to come out. There's absolutely more to come out. Oh, there it is. Do you remember you played the video of him talking about it? Remember? He was in a bar. He was a bit drunk.
Oh, yeah.
You played it maybe about probably 2 years ago or something.
What's your all's take? Obama was just in the UK too, visiting.
Oh yeah. He's trying to get some help out.
Yeah, and the people have just got to understand the UK is all involved in a lot of things. We do come across as if we're whiter than white, but it's not true. It's not true. We're like the belly of the beast, and we're bad. We're bad. We're really bad.
We've been trying to get away from you guys since the 1770s, for crying out loud.
I know. We're not letting you go.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, right? Like, so we've heard, everybody out there always says, like, that one country in the Middle East, they like to wear the small hats. They're behind all of the intelligence agencies, and they're behind everything. And somebody that Mac had mentioned earlier, the Promethean Action, their contention in a lot of their videos is, well, the people who are really behind the scenes and really behind all this stuff is you guys over there, Lisa. Think that holds some validity to that theory?
Without a doubt, we're masters. We're masters. You've got to understand, we've been at it for a long time. We used to run 3/4 of the world. How do you think that a little island like England did that? The British Empire. The British Empire, look it up, it was massive. And if you want to look at, the influence it still has, look at the Commonwealth, Look at the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were everywhere, and we were behind a lot of things, and we worked with a lot of people. We didn't care as long as we were running things, and as long as our people were there. Look what we did to China. Look what we did to China. Big old China. We mullered them.
Interesting history from them too.
All that, yeah.
China's got very interesting, like, that they were invaded by Japan and they were run by Japan for a while. That little tiny country, Japan, overran them for, I forgot, what was it, a few years or whatever, 10 years maybe. I watched a movie about some old Chinese guy. Don't ask me why, but I was watching an old Chinese guy. But at least I do have it up on the screen now. One of the recent findings that I'd never heard this guy being on Epstein's thing before. But you want to let the cat out of the bag?
Yeah. Walter Cronkite, a veteran newsreader, supposed to be like one of the most trusted men in America because he brought you the news. And I spelt Cronkite wrong. I spelt it with a K. It looked better. But anyway, so when he was 91 years old, he visited Epstein Island. And there you have the flight log with his name on. So it's real. So Walter Cronkite, people, he's a properly a part of the American media institution. But at 91 years old, it's like, where I come from, they go, "Oh, he's a rum bugger."
And I'm looking at the names of the people that are on here. This is pretty crazy. So look at this one right here. It just says JP. It says Walter Cronkite, JP, and then above that one says John Ammerling. And I wouldn't expect anybody to know that person's name because I didn't have a clue who the guy was either. But let me pop you up this one and I just would love to get the first thoughts that come to your head when I click this on. This is pretty funny. So here's the website. When I look up old John Amerling, who's 2 numbers above John Cronkite, it brings me to this website. Eventually, the Virgin Islands Bar Association. W.J. Amerling, Sanford, and Amerling Associates. Oh, attorneys and lawyers in the Virgin Islands. I wonder what's that about.
Yeah.
So,
And there has been some controversy with like these kind of islands. When you have the British Virgin Islands, the American Virgin Islands, then they put in the governance of the country, and the person that the Brits have sent to run the British Virgin Islands, who is actually a judge or a lawyer, there's a lot of controversy surrounding him, a lot of controversy, because they control everything. So it's just like on the old films where you see the governor, the governor of New South Wales. They run everything. They run everything. And that's what the Brits do as well. They love to put in a governor.
oh, wow.
I think it's interesting.
And I'm looking up the one on top, second from the top, Igor Zionovin. He is a mixed martial arts fighter. Okay. Lance Galloway. Lance Galloway comes up as a EECS directory, Penn State Engineering. Lanston Arnold Galloway. Nope, that's a basketball player. Sex offender. Lance Paul Galloway, sex offender registry. Maybe. Could be in the right area. Penn State. So we're getting a lot of Penn State stuff from him. But yeah, it looks like this guy's in good company over there. Jeez. Walter Cronkite, huh? Mr. Trusting himself. Well, we know about the media now.
Is that JP like John Podesta?
True.
Yeah, you wonder. Was JP the? I could be wrong, but didn't he have a chef? Was his chef called JP? Maybe.
Ooh, who's chef?
Epstein's chef. It's either a chef or not butler, but somebody who was around all the time, because that was the guy that first started talking. The JP. Maybe I've got that wrong.
Hollywood Restaurateurs was Jeffrey Epstein's private chef. Adam Perry Lang.
No.
Jamie Dimon, J.P. Morgan. Oh, it could be. That could be something about J.P. Morgan. Just J.P. You know what I mean? Having somebody from J.P. Morgan in there.
Yeah. Well, we know that he was all involved in J.P. Morgan, so Jamie Dimon can't come across like he's some, Mr. Clean. It's like, he was washing money through your accounts, and he was also booking the girls, and you paid the girls from those accounts, and all your staff said, "Don't do it," and it was and they let it ride. And there was a guy that used to run Barclays or something. He was all in there, and they were talking about Snow White. They were talking about the children. And I think there's something like 1,200 photographs that went between them. Jeffrey Epstein and J.P. Morgan, and they got away with a fine. Just a fine.
So I'm going to show you guys something interesting from Denmark in a little bit here. But before we get to that one, I could have sworn this was already stick a fork in it. It's done. Like, why are we getting this? So I'll pull up the actual story here so folks can take a look at it. And I gotta say, I love John Solomon, and I love his reporting, but I don't like his website. It keeps popping up all these stupid little pop-up things. So this one is from today, 3:59 p.m. It says appeals court allows Trump to send National Guard to Portland. The divided Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is actually the one that handled the YouTube Google case with us, overturned a lower court order that blocked Trump from deploying Oregon National Guard troops to the West Coast city. I thought he already got like a nationwide okay essentially on this one. But it says appeals court delivered a significant win for Trump by lifting a court order that blocked him from deploying National Guard troops to Portland amid his multi-city crackdown on crime. Lisa, I think this is because one of those other judges came out and tried to do one of those nationwide.
They did. Yeah. And there's still a lot of judges out there that were put in place by Soros, and with Soros kind of backing No Kings protest and stuff like that. He's got them all standing to attention. So they're all doing what they can, to try and put the spoke in what Trump's doing. They're doing their best, let's say, which is doing their worst.
Always. Yeah, they just don't seem to get it, Mac. Now is the time, right? And the funny thing is, if I was to pull up my YouTube thing before I even started the video, I had some people in the chat going, "Oh, you Q-tards are still into this stuff," and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was a hell of a ride, and I really do think that Q got a bad name from, and I never did this, to be honest with you guys. I've apologized giving the inkling that maybe some people were going to get arrested on Inauguration Day. That's probably the worst as I've ever done. But there's been a lot of really crappy decodes over the years, and a lot of crappy, I guess, feelings of things that would happen that people posted out as fact, as if Q did it, but they never did. And so to this day, the only thing that I could ever say that Q posted about is, Hillary Clinton will be arrested on this date at this time, is the only thing you can point to and say, did they get it wrong? And that's a big question mark, too, because we don't know what was going on behind the scenes either.
Well, I learned a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Not if you apply, like, Q logic. So a lot of things that we're seeing happening now, people expected to happen before, misinformation, disinformation, you kind of got to wait till you get some other cues, excuse the pun, before you start making something absolute, and there have been a lot of people over the years, and it's just like, and they've been saying, what do you call it, Mike? Date fagging. So going, on this date, this is going to happen. And then everybody gets all the hopes up, all of the hopium comes out, and it doesn't happen, and people get disappointed. And it's understandable. It's understandable.
It definitely was a learning process to learn it, like what was going on, what was, inferred. And we're still going through it. Definitely. A lot of the things that Cube did post came true. And I think a lot of people are coming into the movement, and they're getting into like all the cues, not no pun intended, of seeing them, relate to President Trump and so forth. So it's interesting to watch. I'm really following the Q drops and like what the map was, and what other things have we missed along the way to try to grasp at it. But we're on a great path right now. President Trump's doing an amazing job, and we haven't even gotten to have we talked about the military much? Their position's amazing, and they're there's a lot going on, I think, behind the scenes. The Russia Trump talking with Putin, their back channel. They're talking to Melania Trump talking about back channels. We got another confirmation about back channels. I'd have to find it real quick, but it's pretty interesting. They're definitely ridding the deep state, the cabal out of each country, it seems like, and there's a lot of juggling going on, and they're using the fake news media as their weapon.
Yeah, as they always do.
I think that whilst this is going on, like the EU, including the UK, kind of plotting, So I'm not sure what's going on in their minds, but they're having one of their meetings, or like I think when Zelensky left Trump yet again, they have one of their meetings where. Zelensky wasn't very happy that he didn't get tomahawks and all of that. And it's like, what do you think, that Trump's going to escalate the war even more than what it is right now? And I think that potentially that's what Europe wants to do. I'm not sure they want peace, to be honest. I'm not sure they want peace. And the things that they're talking about, it's like, well, that would just ratchet things up, wouldn't it? Don't trust them. Don't trust them at all.
You mean a military-controlled country doesn't want peace? Their main objective is just war, fighting. How ironic.
Well, I don't think Zelensky is going to stay in power for that long, you know, he's a similar situation. You know, he's not really the president right now, is he? You know, he won't allow the elections. So that's the only reason that he's still in power. And I think when they do allow the elections, given the amount of people that have been being dragged off to war, literally, you know, goons are being sent to their houses and they're being made to like lambs to slaughter, really, you know. It's a shame. It's a shame. People being dragged out from their families and stuff like that, and it's like, you know, and here we are fueling it all. It's like, why don't we just say, like, hey, we ain't gonna give you anything? Yes, like it stops now. It stops now, and I think they could stop it. I really do. I really, really, really do. It's just that people are gonna, you know. I think the more Ukraine gets devastated, the more money that large companies, excuse me, like, I don't know, Vanguard and BlackRock and all of that, all these people getting these big contracts, the more money that they're going to earn, you know? And Zelensky's looking for countries now to give a percentage of their GDP towards Ukraine. And then the Ukraine, I mean, the EU are looking to allow, to change their rules so that the Ukraine can be part of the EU. Okay. You know? I mean, come on.
And that is a red line that Russia will not have.
Yeah.
They will not.
And they know it. And that's what I'm saying. So it's almost like they're working against things. You know, why are you talking about that? No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the EU, but not really. You know, like, why are you talking about those things? Why is that the first thing that comes up? Why not about saving lives? You know, why not about stopping the war? But instead it's like, oh, you know, Russia, big bad boogeyman and all of that kind of thing. I can't remember what happened, but they go, oh, it must have been Russia. You know, like some kind of cyber attack or whatever. Oh, it must have been Russia. Everything is Russia, 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 Russia. And it's like, yeah, right. Not believing it that Russia's responsible for nearly all of the ills that go on in the whole of Europe, you know?
No way. And you know, I've said this repeatedly. They've historically been a very good ally to the United States. They helped us against you guys, Lisa, in the wait, was it the Civil War? No, wait, was it? No, it was the Civil War. I'm sorry. It was the
Civil War.
Yeah, it was the North
They
versus the
blocked off
South.
Charleston.
Yeah, they blocked off, and then it's been some, you know, question whether we bought Alaska, like just to buy Alaska, or did we buy Alaska to pay them off?
You bought Alaska to pay. Well, basically, you bought Alaska to make an excuse because you couldn't just pay Russia just like that, you know. So Russia gave you Alaska so that it made that payment look legit, as far as people were concerned, you know.
And then
I was reading about Kennedy and Khrushchev or somebody from Russia. I can't pronounce it, but it's Krush something. Oh, Krush.
I got a video in the chat for that about that. JFK, the back channeling with the Soviet Union, and then you know what's going on with Russia right now. They just declassed some of the JFK assassination files, their version of it, and the official. Yeah, and then the official declass. I guess the rest of it's supposed to come out in November of this year. So I'll let you.
Anybody that
I've got the English version, Mike. I've got the English translation of that.
Ooh, drop that. Yeah, I've been.
Remind me. Yeah,
I ran it through notes.
Definitely got it.
What you think I'm playing too? Watch this. Look. There you go. You guys think I'm playing? I did. This is the first 10 pages that I did through the the stupid translating machine. It only allowed me to do a few paragraphs at a time or whatever. But yeah, you know, it talked about
I've got the English version.
Yeah, yours will be better than mine because like I said, I only got the first 10 pages. Let me just read this quick, and then I'm going to go look at Mac's video here. But listen to the stupidity of this. Politico Europe. So right off the bat, Politico, first red flag, right? Russian leader Vladimir Putin should be blocked. I mean, just think about this. It should be blocked from taking part in high-stakes negotiations designed to freeze the war in Ukraine. Wait, who are they having a war with right now? Oh, Russia. Wait, who's the president who runs Russia right now? Oh, Putin. Yeah, we need to keep the guy who's running Russia away from this negotiation so he can stop the war that his country is in. One of Europe's top diplomats warned after U.S. President Donald Trump touted Hungary as a host country. And Kirill writes, why do these deep state clowns keep trying to sabotage U.S.-Russia dialogue and try to provoke the bear? Ooh, just think about what this clown said. Russian leader Vladimir Putin should be blocked from taking part in high-stakes negotiations designed to freeze the war in Ukraine. And he says, warmongers are in panic because, like we've been reporting on, or I've been saying I had an inkling about, because President Putin and President Trump are talking and working on peace. And we got a nice little dove of peace right there. All right, so let me pull up Mac's thing here. And guys, before it disappears, let me just thank somebody really quick, Lisa. Thank you to Canada Lori. I wonder where she's from. For the Rumble Red says, I've been following you guys for years and really appreciate all your content. Finally figured out how to donate on Rumble and also became a monthly supporter. So thank you for that, Canada Lori. I'm going to pull up Mac's video, but you were saying, Lisa?
There's just a line there, and it says, the ones that want war are the ones that profit from it, which is what I was trying to say. It just says everything that I was trying to say in one sentence, you know.
I thought I had that same exact video up and ready to go here, but all right, never mind. I'll pull up the Mac's got this same one here. Here we go.
Speaking of transparency, Congresswoman, this is Nicole Sapphire. You announced this week that you have received Russia's report on the assassination of former President John F. Kennedy. You've been working to release information on the killings of John F. Kennedy, MLK, and chairwoman of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this was actually months in the making. As soon as I got the task force, I was made aware that Russia did have a complete report on the assassination of Kennedy that in the 90s Congress had tried to obtain but had failed. And so at that point in time, I picked up the phone and I had my office arrange a meeting with the ambassador to Russia. And to our surprise, but also following through on their promise, they did deliver us a 380-page report, of which we have now uploaded. And we actually have experts in the Kennedy assassination, both Democrat and Republican, working with translators to go through these documents. What I will tell you is serendipitous in timing is that Kennedy was actively involved in back-channeling conversations with the then Soviet president and didn't want a nuclear arms exchange. You all know this. And so that's actually confirmed in a lot of these documents. And also, too, from what we're being told, there was a former NSC advisor to Clinton that actually also confirmed the validity of these documents. It's important for people to understand that there should always be peace pursued, especially on this topic. And isn't it interesting that President Trump, I believe, is fulfilling and finalizing President Kennedy's legacy on the topic of Russia. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come with peace, especially with Russia. And I will say that our task force specifically has been able to deliver great wins for the American people of massive historical significance.
So it took a former stripper to get with one of the I guess you could call him. What did he call him? Not an advisor, but he was the. I keep messing it up there. Sir Kirill Dmitriev. What is his title there, guys? Envoy, special envoy. But it is very good because think about it, guys. Right? What is one of the major things that we've been talking about for years is the assassination of Kennedy, and can we get some new insight? Lisa, I know you said you had the English version, but I don't know if you got to look at any of it or whatnot. I started reading a little bit on the Patsy there and how he showed up in Oswald showed up in Russia and he tried to join up with them and then they denied him and then he tried to kill himself. I didn't know about that. So there was a few things that I learned throughout this, but I don't know if you got to look at too much of it.
Yeah. They wanted, the CIA or whatever wanted him to be like an infiltrator, and I think he spoke Russian or something, and that was why they sent him in there, literally, And
it was interesting that he basically, they said anyways in this paperwork that I read that he ended up trying to kill himself, and inevitably they found out that he was a man of strong convictions, and essentially if he put his mind to something. Basically he could be good in that respect, that he'll see things through to the end. I don't know. But yeah, if we can get some more insight on this and if they can provide information that's in there that, does help clarify some of these things, then yeah, that'd be a good thing. But I've been saying this and hopefully I don't get proven wrong, but I truly believe that Xi and Putin and Trump have been working in some sort of an agreement fashion for the last a good 8 years at least. And who knows, I could be found to be wrong about that, but the way things are starting to like land, I guess we could say, and kind of dovetail together, like the whole thing about future-proofs past, I was thinking like, yeah, maybe 6 months or so, or maybe a year or so, but a lot of these future-proof past things are starting to come around and have been coming around for the last year or so in a strong way. And then, we talked about Comey being indicted. Should we start a pool, guys? Should we start like a gambling betting pool on like who's going to be the next indictment? Any ideas?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think, well, President Trump mentioned Obama the other day, and about how he was, what did he say? Something about weapon. No, he said it was something worse than that. I posted about it. I think it's in the channel, But I just put a link in the bottom of the channel because President Trump mentioned. I'm going off topic now. I'm going off topic because I'm getting tired. But you said the next arrest. Well, for me, it will be somebody around Comey, Bolton. There's Hillary. There's
Brennan.
Obama. Brennan. Yeah, Brennan.
Brennan
he's looking a good. He's looking a good. Looking well. There's the Oars as well.
Ooh.
What if Mike Pence got? That's one of them.
Oh,
I've heard he's floating around too. Yeah.
He's supposed to be implicated with Bolton, apparently. So I read today that he's definitely. I can't remember what it was, but he's implicated with Bolton, with the Bolton case. I think he's mentioned.
Yeah, I got some stuff on Bolton too.
We know Pence broke the law, the Constitution, or whatever, the voting process.
Let me see if I can find that. I have some things that were some interesting findings on Bolton's indictments, but I pulled up one of the videos that you had dropped, Lisa. This is Trump talking to Maria Bartiromo for about 30 seconds here. Let's take a listen.
Let the courts decide.
And all of these indictments caused Obama the other day on a podcast to say that right now democracy is being threatened.
Yeah, I know. He says that all the time. He's the one that threatened it by spying on my campaign. He started it. Obama spied on my campaign, and he did it knowing it was illegal. He knew it was illegal, but he started the whole thing, and there were a lot of dishonest people, and I suspect they'll be caught.
Mr. President, thank you.
Ooh, and I suspect they'll get caught. Now you had another one. I don't know if that was another video or if it was just a picture.
Yeah, there is. There's one. It's not that one. It's literally like a TikTok video or something like that, and it's with President Trump, and but it's President Trump and Obama.
Ooh, okay, that one's an interesting.
I think it's.
This is the one with Trump.
No, I think it's lower. I think it's lower. It's lower than that. I think it's down at the bottom.
Let's see what we got here. All right, is it Charlie?
Keep going. Keep going.
Top Admiral.
I'm sure I put it in there. No,
this is interesting too.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Oh my God!
Oh, here we go.
There it is. That's
this is so funny. This one I thought was probably one of the funniest.
Me too. Me too. It cracked me up. Just
thinking about it. All right, let's take a look. And the difference between, and I know everybody will say, well, it sounds so much more official coming from Obama, but I don't care. I like Trump's version better.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. The United States launched a targeted operation against that compound.
They did a lot of shooting, and they did a lot of blasting, even not going through the front door. You think you go through the door. If you're a normal person, you say, knock, knock, may I come in?
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
He died like a dog.
His death does not mark the end of our effort.
A beautiful dog.
We give thanks for the men who carried out this operation.
And I don't get any credit for this, but that's okay. I never do. Here we are.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
And I'm writing a book.
and I'm writing a
That's
book.
hilarious.
But the
hilarious,
the funny
honestly.
part about it is though, it's like, he says I don't get any credit for it. He really should get credit for it because, right, we have essentially, air quotes, the same military under Obama as we did under President Trump, right? But the difference is once we took the leashes essentially off of our warfighters and essentially made it so like, hey, if somebody shoots at you, you can actually shoot back at them. That's great, right? Like, and we weren't just dumping, stockpiles of weapons out in the middle of the desert somewhere and saying, oh, we're supposed to be somebody here to meet us for this stuff. It's like, follow your orders, just drop the weapons and leave. It's like, yeah, but anybody could get this stuff. Follow your orders, right? And then President Trump comes in, gets rid of the whole ISIS caliphate in 2 months or something like that. Something ridiculous when they said it was going to take years. So I do think he should get a lot of credit on this. And I love, he's like, a beautiful dog. I'm going to be writing a book. Love this guy. I love him. And remember, guys, President Trump is not, running this whole situation. He was basically asked to be the front man to this. And I don't think they could have picked a better front man. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that could have taken the slings and arrows and with the grace that he has. And, people might laugh and say with the grace that he has, but, just imagine that since the moment you took a step down that escalator with your wife announcing you're going to be president, you have been on basically, defense for what? We're talking almost a solid 10 years here, right? Every single day. He's a racist. He's a rapist. He's everything that isms that we talked about in the drops before, anything that they can label him as, they did. He's like the scum of the earth, essentially. And unfortunately, once these people repeated this stuff over and over and over again, the mainstream people started to listen. And that 4 to 6%, which I'm convinced is more like 10 to 15%, they're gone forever. They're really gone forever. But I'm loving the progress that they're going to make here. And we do know, right? We do know, even Clapper has said, none of this would have happened unless we got our orders from Obama. But he set us out on this. And so some of these people are completely screwed. And Comey on top of it, guys, right? We know about all the stuff with Crossfire Hurricane, but what we don't know about is these additional investigations that he started by himself and never put into the FBI Sentinel program, like completely off the books investigation on President Trump. So that was really bad. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people say, I don't think they're ever going to go and get him because, he was the president and whatnot. But I don't know. I think they need to make an example out of these people, an absolute example. So I wanted to pull this one up because I don't know how much of it we're going to play, Lisa, but there was some very interesting stuff in here that Hannity had broken down for Bolton's thing. So we got some time. So let's play a little bit of it and we'll see how much we do need to listen to regarding Bolton's misdeeds.
Tonight, former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton was indicted by a federal grand jury in Maryland. Bolton facing 8 counts of transmission of national defense information, 10 counts of retention of national defense information. Now, the indictment says Bolton illegally shared classified material with 2 relatives and stored classified information inside his personal email account. That email account was later allegedly hacked by Iran, exposing, of course, our nation's sensitive secrets to a major adversary. Now, according to Fox News Digital, a probe into Bolton's mishandling of classified information started years ago, but was later shut down by the Biden administration for, quote, political reasons. And then he went on, became one of the biggest Trump haters out there. Bolton has hired a lawyer who turns out to be none other, and he's a good lawyer, Abby Lowell. In a statement, Lowell says Bolton was just keeping a diary like anyone else would. and that none of that information was classified. In a statement of his own, John Bolton said he is dedicated as a public servant who's looking forward to the legal fight over these charges. Here with an analysis, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley and the author of The Color of Death. I never knew he had this dark a soul. But I mean, this is deep, and it is dark, and it is a page turner. He's the host of Sunday Night in America, Trey Gowdy. Trey, we'll start with you. Let's look at this case. These charges are real. We knew this was an issue when he was writing his book. I think it was Joyce Lambert, the judge, that chastised him for wanting to put this information in her book, right?
Sean, I cannot tell you and your viewers how serious the information that John Bolton both disseminated to his wife and daughter, that's who the unindicted co-conspirators are, and retained. It is the gravest secrets that this country has. It's the kind of information that gets people killed. Millions of documents over years, and he's out there lecturing, whether it's Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or anyone else. There are so many clips in this indictment of him having notice and knowledge of how to handle material. All the while he was breaking it. I cannot stress to you the job that Kash Patel and John Lee Ratcliffe did in bringing this case to indictment. The gravest possible danger could have been done to this country, and may well have been done because Iran accessed his email at his home. This is very, very serious.
You know.
So let me ask Mac first. Mac, do you think Iran hacked into his emails, or do you think
plausible deniability? Plausible deniability. Allegedly. I didn't know anything about it. I
don't know what you're talking about. I was getting my mustache trimmed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he used AOL of all things. You know, like, I just don't use them. You know, like AOL, Yahoo. It's like, just have a look how many hacks that they've had. And over the years, I'm telling you, it is zillions. You know, the free email service. But I don't know. He obviously went in. He was hated by the Dems, yes, whilst he was working with Trump, hated, and then all of a sudden he was loved by them, and he went all anti-Trump. You know.
Old blackmail in action right there, right? Hey, we're going to prosecute you, or, you know, I think he would have bagged on Trump anyways. And just as a refreshing reminder for everybody else.
He was behind Mar-a-Lago, wasn't he?
I don't know, but he's got some comments on it. So here is Mar-a-Lago, guys. This is what the air quotes FBI found, and I would say later proven that they staged all of these photos. Like, they put in the little red stuff here and the yellow and the top secret stuff and thinned it all out so it looked like it was like really bad. So they did stage that. Now, I did want to play for you guys is this really quick. Here we go. Let's take a listen to this. What is it? The cat has come home to roost? I don't know. I don't know my farm sayings.
It's maybe of the highest level of sensitivity, or they may not. We just don't know. So we could speculate all night here. I'd prefer that the Justice Department move as rapidly as possible as they can through this in order that as much as can be made and would be made public is done as quickly as we can, because otherwise the department is left out there twisting in the wind, to use a Watergate phrase, and it doesn't have adequate defenses against the political onslaught of Donald Trump.
So he didn't know what they were going to be, but wanted it done as fast as possible. So yeah, I wonder if he has the same sentiment right now as he did back then. Lisa, what do you think?
Yeah, well, they were going to charge Trump. Remember, they were trying to charge Trump with espionage. You don't remember that?
Yeah,
espionage. You know, so why wouldn't this one, Bolton, not lob when you say it backwards? You know, but you know, why wouldn't he be charged with espionage? He spent so much time in Britain as well. Let me tell you, there you go again. A lot of time in Britain.
And
Qatar. I wonder why. Yeah, Qatar. I wonder why.
Right.
Yeah, I just wonder how far back he's been doing this. So that's another question that you need to find out. We're not going to be privy to that information, but sounds like Bolton might have been doing this for a long time.
Well, he was taking notes all the time, so that's what the first case was
Isn't that
about.
what Scavino
And
posted?
Yeah, and so well, I'm not sure. I hadn't seen that, but I do know that a judge kind of warned him, because there was controversy about what he was going to put in his book and where he was getting the information from. And some of the information was supposedly from all the notes that he writes on a yellow notepad. So apparently he writes these notes all of the time, but they decided not to go forward or something like that, and he went ahead and published the book. But I think there's more to this. I think there's definitely more to this. I'm interested in the amount of time that he's spent in the UK, and then knowing that the visa application came from the UK. GCHQ. Like, come on, all of them working in Intel and stuff like that. It's like, I don't think he had anything to do with it. Or maybe he did, He hated Trump.
The only reason Trump had him, in my opinion, was because he was the feared man with the mustache, the wild man that they all knew wanted to go to war all the time, right? That's what John Bolton was, the war hawk that they knew always wanted to go to war. And just for people remembering, January 15th, 2021. Geez, that's just a couple of days. Oh, actually, sorry, that's a year ahead of the inauguration. I thought it was just a week, but it's a day or so, or a year or so. But here was John Bolton. There was a video, and there's no mistaking that mustache. And Al Ryan Road there. Interesting. Mac and Lisa, something interesting I wanted to actually, you know what, I have to thank before they disappear. And thank you very much to Just In Case Friend. And thank you to Josie Ann, who both gifted out 5 subscriptions to the channel. I appreciate that very mucho. So thank you for that. And I would love to get your guys' thoughts on this. I don't know if this is like something that has to be done worldwide, or does it have to be in just a certain country like this? Will this kind of go throughout the world? Because I'm very low tech. You guys know I have to have help, but basically learn how to do all this live streaming stuff. I don't know if you guys have heard about this stuff at all. How long is this video? It's 2 minutes. I'm just gonna play maybe the first 30 seconds or so. You get the gist of it.
Okay, finally a country is standing up to the beast. This is huge, Denmark have just passed a law giving every citizen copyright over their face, their voice, and their body. This means no company, not even an AI corporation, can use your likeness without your permission. Finally, let's admit it. The UK right now is racing to hand its data, its biometrics, and its digital identity to these big tech companies, whilst Denmark over here are drawing the line in the sand. They said your image belongs to you, your voice belongs to you, and your data, your body data is yours.
So very interesting. Like I said, I'm not a very big tech guy. I know Lisa and Mac know a lot more about tech than I do. But what I would say about this is, does this have anything to do with like all the facial recognition stuff? Like I would assume the countries can still use all the facial recognition on there, but what about copyright? That means they can't basically manipulate and make another copy of you, which might be where some of these people want to go at the end of the day. They don't want to ever die. They want to take their consciousness and put it into another body. So I don't know if they plan on, what to plan on doing. So I'm just kind of rambling here, Lisa. So it sounds like you have something to say.
Interesting enough, that's why I mentioned the European Court of Human Rights, because you have certain human rights, and if I think about it, an analogy would be a footballer owns his own rights. He owns his own copyright, right? And he gets paid for that. So why don't we? Because, in fact, I was thinking about this last week, and I was thinking, if they do go ahead, then I'm going to court over what belongs to me, my property. Yes, my property. because they are giving my property to somebody else, you know, and those other people it's been proven that they can't be trusted, or they've got an alternative agenda. You know, if I was to go and fight it in court, then that's what I would be saying. And then there was something with over here with the CCTV cameras. So they're putting up cameras everywhere, and the facial recognition and all of that. And I'm sure that they got slapped back. And then there's also the fact of them keeping your data. So let's say you get caught up on CCTV or with some case or whatever, and if you're innocent, they have to destroy it. I'm pretty sure there's something like that. They can't just keep it, because then when it comes to the law, it's like, well, why am I guilty before I'm innocent? Do you see what I mean? You're innocent until proven guilty. So why are you keeping my data on your files? You should be destroying it. You know, you should be destroying it because I'm not a criminal.
In the wrong hands, it can be used as a very, very, very powerful weapon.
In the right hands, Mac. In the right hands, like the police and stuff like that. Like, why would my face be on their database? Why would they be keeping it, and why should they be allowed to keep it? Because I haven't done anything wrong. See what I mean? But I'm sure there's something like that if you get caught up, like in a case or something, and you're not guilty, then they have to destroy it. They can't just keep it, because then it's kind of presuming that you're guilty of something, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
There's something to do with law there, I believe. And there's a reason, if Denmark have done this, then there's a reason why yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking legally about whether they can just do this, whether Keir Starmer can just bring in the social credit system with Larry Ellison, you know, whether they can actually do that. Because if you own your own copyright, like own yourself, which you do, then they should be asking permission. And it's like we've got GDPR as well, so General Data Protection Regulation. But the thing is, I don't know. It's like they're trying to create this overarching system so that they have control. I said it earlier, you know, but I'm not sure that it convenes with all of the laws. And given some of the court decisions that have already been made, like there have been ones that have been made about CCTV, you know, and there are obviously laws regarding copyright. And, you know, all I know is that footballers and sports stars own their own image. They don't have to copyright it, they own it. So for companies like sponsors and all of that, they have to pay them. You know what I mean? There's something in there. And it's like they're trying to blindside us to think that they can just do this. And it's like, well, what law says that you can do that? You know? And I mean law, not something that they bring in so that they can fuel whatever it is that they're doing. But I'm talking about existing laws and rights. You know, I have a right not to be on a police database. Yeah, if I haven't done anything, and I haven't done anything, so why am I there? Scrub it, get rid of it. You know, and why are you sharing that with somebody like Israel or whoever it is? It's like, no. You know, it's Facebook. It's like, well, how many hacks have there been there? No, and they don't even tell us. So no. You know, why can't we just say no legally?
Right, yeah, I think it should be our stuff too. And I got a very interesting one for you guys too. Kind of, I guess, on the tech side of things. Going low tech here, I guess, or old school tech. I always wondered if this was legit or not, guys. So we're gonna see. Of course, it got a community note that says a correction about the information that's in here, but let's take a listen, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this one.
Did they really ban lead paint because it was toxic, or because it blocked their signals? Think about it. For decades, every home was coated in lead paint, thick, durable, insulating. Then suddenly, governments worldwide decided it was dangerous. But here's what they don't tell you. Lead is a natural shield against radiation and electromagnetic frequencies. In other words, radio waves can't penetrate it. Before the ban, your walls literally acted like armor. No TV signals, no radio frequencies, No wireless anything could pass through. And then, right as wireless communication exploded, radio, television, early radar, the health panic began. Convenient timing, right? They told us it was about safety, but the studies linking lead paint to poisoning? Most came from industrial smelting, not house paint. The numbers never added up. But what did add up was control. Because once the lead came off the walls, the signals went in. Every home became a receiver. Every person became a node in a connected network. Was lead paint banned to protect you or to make sure they could finally reach inside your home?
Mr. Mac, what do you think, buddy? Thinking back historically, all right, yeah, lead paint's bad. It must give you people cancer. But once I start looking at this, I start thinking, well, if everybody's house was painted with this stuff, we didn't have like this explosion of people with cancer back then. That's my only input on this. But what do you got? And then we'll hear from Miss Lisa.
Well, I do know there's lead poisoning and there's lead paint, and some kids may have eaten paint chips. You ever hearing that?
Oh yeah.
So there are cases of lead poisoning because of paint like that. Now I can't remember all the consequences. I know cancer is one of the consequences of lead exposure, but I'm not up to speed with it. I have to look it up. However, we've been told fluoride, why, so, I need more info to make it more, but it could very well be, but it could also just be timing of it all. Asbestos was also another one. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That one definitely caused cancer.
All right, so I'll give Lisa a little bit more of information as we go here. The U.S. banned the sale of lead-based paint for residential house use in 1978. However, it remains a concern because it can still be present in millions of homes built before 1978. So that's what I'm going to look up as Lisa's giving her opinion. I'm going to look up cancer rates 1978 and prior and see what that has to say. But any thoughts on that, Lisa?
I remember back in the day, when everybody used to wear powder on the face, and I think they might have called them pantaloons, so I don't know, Elizabethan era and all of that kind of thing. They used to wear this white makeup on their face, which had lead in it, so they would get poisoning, But I'm not sure about the paint, because they tell you that you need 3 meals a day, and if you miss breakfast, it's like breaking up some kind of law or whatever, and none of that's true. None of that's true. They've got us eating in a way where it's not in tune with our body, So it means that you have less energy and that your body doesn't work to optimum levels. So I'd like to see what you say about cancer, and I'm going to look into it. I don't know for certain, but we can't trust what we've been told, really. And it kind of makes sense about the rise in the use of electromagnetic fields and radar and sonar and all of that type of thing. And remember, today we've got smart dust. They put that in the air, and that's trackable. So and they do want to track us, and they're finding a way to house all that information in like one place. They've now got AI, they've now got the data centers and stuff like that. There's a lot that they can do with the information. And as Larry Ellison says, it's like we can control what people do,
Let me see. And so my chat GPT is not giving me very much good data because it's saying we can't answer rates. So it's saying it can't give me basically, before and after. But what it did say was, I said, well, what about cancer rates before, from 1977 and prior? Says the age-adjusted cancer mortality rate, deaths per 100,000 in 1977 was 202 per 100,000 people. I said, all right, well, what about before that? Or excuse me, after that? According to it was 207.9 per 100,000 people in 1980. So, if we're going on just saying that it's just this, it's actually up 5 deaths per 100,000 people just 2 years after they removed all the lead paint or stopped selling lead paint in the walls. Which you, of course, were going to have residual houses that still had lead in their houses and whatnot, and then slowly being removed after that. So my guess is, I'm guessing it was probably more about blocking the signals, because we do know the signals are everywhere, right? Like right now we have radio signals, we got Wi-Fi, we have so many different signals that come out, and radar and whatnot, and we know that the cancer rates go up every time that they basically had a spike in their technology. So definitely 1 + 1 = 2 on this, in my opinion.
Apparently it's a neurotoxin. Remember the Mad Hatter and all of that? I think that was supposed to be about lead. The Mad Hatter's, was it Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter? People would go mad. So it's a neurotoxin, and apparently when the paint deteriorates, then maybe there's some kind of effervescence or something that goes into the air. But surely they could find a way of locking it in. So surely some chemist could come up with some way of locking it in, because it stops like mold and all of that type of thing. It's so durable, and there's a lot of qualities to it. Apparently in the UK we had it up until right up until the 1980s, apparently. But I do remember lead painted, what did they call them? Like lead painted windows or something like that. I do remember that. This old thick paint.
Oh yeah,
and we used to do bonfire night.
I don't know what's going on.
You can have them in children's toys either, so there
right.
is definitely a toxicity to it.
Mad Hatter's lead tea party. Casey Bob.
Yeah. Yep. But I don't see why, given what we know about chemistry, that they can't create something where it locks in the toxin. See what I mean? There must be something that you can mix in there to lock it in.
Oh yeah,
If that makes sense, Mike. From a chemistry
Captain.
point of view.
What's up, Captain? He says, we got signals that can zero in on your cell phone and cook you to death in seconds, Mike. He would know, too. Thank you, 0858 Captain. Real deal military helicopter pilot right there. And, guys, we got a weird situation going on Rumble here. Look at this. We got, what do we got? 241 thumbs up. Let's click that again. 255 while we have one person watching. But who are all these people if there's only one person watching? And I have refreshed the page and it doesn't
Maybe it's because we mentioned Israel.
And they just start taking everything offline.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, like say on the channel, if I post anything about Israel, then it's like people start leaving, as if people start leaving. But I think that
same thing on my end.
It's really weird, but I do notice it. It's noticeable, like somebody is controlling it. No joke. It really is noticeable. And I know, and I go, I'm going to post this article, and then I wait, and it's like, yeah, same thing happens. But when I look at it, it's often people with one name. Just one name, like Karen.
Like a Karen. Usually is a Karen. And I'm going to actually play a little video here towards the end as we start making our way out here in response to, who was talking? Bamlo says, eggs are bad. Don't eat eggs. No way eggs are okay. Just the white parts. No, never mind. Eggs are great. It's your genes. And I remember exactly what Bamlo's talking about here. Remember back in the day, it was like, yeah, eggs are great. Eat eggs. Cool. And then it was like, wait, don't eat the egg yolks. They're cholesterol. Don't eat the cholesterol. Cholesterol is bad for you. And then all of a sudden it was no more butter. We're using margarine. And then and it's like, wait, no, it's okay now.
Hey, Space Shot, check out the video. I think this is what you guys are talking about.
Let's take a look-see.
Yeah, it's interesting because they did a study on eggs, and they got some kids to eat eggs, and then they had a control group of kids, and the kids that had one egg a day were like 15 points more intelligent than the other kids. But eggs have a lot of what we need. They have a lot of protein. I think it's vitamin B, is it, or something like that? B vitamins, possibly. But they've got a lot of good stuff in there. I eat eggs not every day now, but I used to eat them every day. And they used to say only have a certain amount. You know, we had some politician that went on about eggs. They give you salmonella, this and that. They're really bad for you. They went through a whole campaign for us not to eat eggs. You know, and it's like you go to China, and it's like a lot of people out in the country, they eat eggs all day. You know, they're happy if they have an egg.
I think this video sums it up.
Yeah, this is funny, and I love these guys. Funny or Die. That website was hilarious. Let's take a listen. This is the time traveling dietitian.
Wait! Stop! Don't eat that food.
Who are you? What are you doing in our house?
I'm from the future. I'm here to warn you. Don't eat that food.
Why not?
The eggs. They're full of cholesterol.
What?
Eating even just one egg can dramatically increase your chance of heart attack. Don't eat eggs.
Oh my God. Thank you.
You're welcome. Godspeed.
Well, I guess I better take those eggs.
Wait! Stop!
You're back!
Yeah. We were wrong about the eggs.
How?
Well, it turns out there's two types of cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and eggs actually have both. So you can eat eggs, but just don't eat the egg yolks. So stick with the egg whites.
Yes, thank you.
Godspeed. Wait! We were wrong about the eggs.
Again?
Yeah, okay, so it turns out that the amount of cholesterol in a food doesn't actually affect how much cholesterol ends up in your blood. The eggs are probably fine. In fact, we sort of don't even know what cholesterol is. But the steak! You can't eat the steak! Wait! We were wrong about the steak. It's the toast. Man was not meant to eat bread.
What do you mean man was not meant to eat bread?
Turns out it's genetic. Doesn't matter whether you exercise or what you eat. I'm sorry I ruined your meal.
Sorry I ruined your meal. That is, I mean, 30 years ago, that was a 30-year memory right there in about a minute and a half.
Did you hear about the Amish woman that was thrown out?
No. Thrown out?
Yeah, she had 2 men a night.
2 men a night.
That wasn't the whole joke.
I got all this egg talk. I was like, I don't know if I'll play it or not because I did a funny already, and I said, you know what? For those of you who may be looking for a good for you, apparently healthy, good for you snack that has to do with eggs, I'll play this for you guys. And the guy did the review, and so he said it was pretty good. I don't know. I've never tried anything like this, but we'll see what you guys think here. Here we go.
Did you know that if you blend boiled eggs, cocoa powder, milk, honey, and vanilla extract, you'll make a chocolate pudding that's not only super high in protein, but also very healthy?
All right, this one looks like it could go horribly wrong, so let's try it so you don't have to and tell you if it's actually worth making. Okay, the finished product. The texture is actually really nice looking. Now this one I wasn't sure on at all. To be honest with you, it doesn't smell like egg at all anymore. When I was putting in the boiled eggs with the smell of them, I really thought this was going to be a disaster and really not nice at all. But although the smell of the eggs is gone, does it taste good and does it taste like boiled eggs? The problem with these viral recipes, although they look good, this does look really good, they don't always taste good. And this is why I made this series, trying them to tell you if they're worth it or not. If that sounds good to you, definitely drop me a follow. I try these so you don't have to and tell you if they're actually worth your time and your money. Okay, let's try this. Wow. This is actually the most surprising recipe I've ever tried. It's pretty delicious, to be honest with you. And I will say the ingredients in this are pretty ridiculous. Eggs, one of the most micronutrient dense foods. Honey, another superfood. Cacao, really good for suppressing your hunger and for your blood flow as well. This is literally a super dessert and it tastes amazing. I would definitely give this one a go.
So he said, give it a go. It doesn't taste eggy like you would think. And I'd also recently, probably like a year ago now, I'm thinking it's like a week or two ago, but it was probably like a year ago, where I saw this study where people drink hot chocolate with real cacao, and it severely reduces your blood pressure like crazy. So cacao is actually really good for you. And if you guys are looking for a little healthy snack, apparently some eggs, some honey, some cacao powder, some milk, and I think that was it. Was that all? Blend boiled eggs, cocoa powder, milk, honey, and vanilla extract. So there was your healthy treat for the day, guys. I know you didn't expect that, but there you have it. So Mac and Lisa, we're about 2 hours and 25 minutes. Was there any important? Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Is there any important stories that I'm sure we missed something, but is there anything super important that we need to get out that we didn't? I'm sure there is, but I don't know. Anything pressing?
Smartmatic.
All right. I think we'll do some final thoughts then. And actually, I'm going to read a little text from my buddy Clagster, Original Clag in the chat, sent me over a text. He had a pretty good idea for the next indictment, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on this one.
Did you hear Lisa? She said Smartmatic.
Oh, I thought she said.
It's all right. We don't have to cover it. We don't have to cover it.
We will definitely cover it just really quick. Says, I think I got the next indictment. John Kerry and him, with him and Obama running the shadow diplomacy during the first President Trump administration. Remember, he was meeting with all these Iranians and whatnot, and his daughter actually married one of the Iranians, and we know all of the Iranian people or Iranian family with Stroke and who was the one Roseanne got in trouble about, saying that she looked like a monkey from Planet of the Apes. There, Valerie Jarrett. A lot of other people have connections to Iran as well, so that's very good possibility. But Smartmatic, Lisa, was it Dominion or Smartmatic the one that was just sold, or just bought by
Dominion was just sold, but Smartmatic are the ones in trouble. Yeah, they're the ones in trouble. They do like the software and stuff. They were the ones that started in Venezuela with the election of Maduro.
Money laundering, huh?
Yep, and it goes on, and they were obviously, I'm sure they were involved in the 2020 election. They did things like see there's an existing case where 3 people I think have already been charged. So this is like an addition to that. Smartmatic have been added to it, and they've done things like they've got all of the communications where they're changing contracts, laughing about it, and stuff like that. But the money laundering is big with Smartmatic. So remember, there's the Dominion that do the machines, and then Smartmatic that do the software, something like that.
And money laundering is also racketeering, and that's the RN RICO.
Yes, and then think about the other people involved in the election fraud as well. And yeah. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm over here talking to you guys, and hey, it's been a while. Space mute. It's been a while. I haven't done the space mute in a while. I'm like, I'm waiting for, it's going to be a long list of people that were culpable with this stuff, guys. Like, a lot of people were culpable with this.
And again, that.
Are we going to get them? I'm saying we got a little bit of delay going here. So, at the end of the day, are we going to get what we wanted? Are they going to get rid of all these people? And, at the end of the day, I think Lisa, we really need to make an example of these people so nobody would ever think about doing that they did again.
Without a doubt, and I'm sure Southern Gal would agree with you there. People need something. They need something to hang on to. People have been charged and they get away with it, or they haven't taken things forward. We need to see some people being held accountable, and especially if we're going to try and stop it from happening to this degree again. They have to be held accountable. So all of these people that they've got now, it's like they have to make sure that something happens, especially given that they've got the information, So even if a judge lets them off, it's like, well, take it to the Supreme Court, do whatever you need to do, and call the judges out. Why can't we call judges out, by the way? Absolutely. Why can't we call judges out for these bad decisions that they're making, or these biased decisions that they're making? so that people like this get away with it. It's like, no, that's got to stop. I don't know how they're going to stop it, but it's like, you know what? I don't know. Call the insurrection out. Do whatever you need to do, but just do it and just make sure they are held accountable because the people need it and the people need to see it. You know?
Absolutely. Just typing a message here. I need to get to make that recipe. All I need to get myself is some cacao. That's like obviously not just like hot chocolate powder. You need like the actual real deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, guys, this all this stuff that's kind of, I call it dovetailing nicely together. Like all this stuff seems to be landing at this particular time when we're starting to get all this stuff. All this progress seems to be nailing down right now. And then again, President Trump, again with the court ruling earlier, once again gets the nod that yes, he can bring National Guard in, like we told you before, and your stupid injunctions are not working. So. This stuff, in my opinion, is landing later than we had hoped, right? And I'm not saying Q or Trump or anything like that is God, but like with most things, it's in God's timing. And these people, I believe, who orchestrated this plan, knew exactly how it had to be laid out and in which manner it had to be done. And therefore, it's their timing, not the way we wanted it to be. Of course, we wanted to see everybody wrapped up by early 2018, right? We would have welcomed it, but I think that would have cost us the country. We would have went into a bad civil war where you had a lot of these people still listening to the media. But as we're noticing lately, slowly, yes, but surely, the media is starting to give President Trump his kudos. Even begrudgingly early on with the, oh, well, we're losing some of the Democrat side over to the Republican side, and then we're starting to see it a little bit more and more now.
Don't get your hopes up, though.
Yeah, I just scan the news and it's bad. It's bad. All across the UK, the news is there's nothing positive. There's nothing positive really about the peace deal. Like really, I'm not joking. Do you see a newspaper in the UK with President Trump on the top and saying
what's
on
a
the front
newspaper?
Page? No, I know, but the thing is, it's like they're still so influential, and they're still guilty of brainwashing and putting out propaganda and just not reporting the news, reporting their stories. That's it. But I don't know. It'd be nice to see that sorted out, even if it isn't right now, But yeah, it's bad. It's still bad. It's still bad. It's still bad. The way that they're spinning things and all of that, they're not helping. But it comes from the politicians as well. So we need to sort them out. We need to have a way of like judges. Even in the UK, we've got all of these activist judges now. So illegals get to court and they're let off. Oh, yeah. And it turns out one of the judges works for some like center for the illegals and things like that. The legal system is poisoned, I would say, really.
Majorly. And look what we got for a Delta tomorrow, guys. What a coinky dink. Now playing Panic in DC, Guardians of the Pedophiles, Panic in DC, and FISA-gate. Oh, geez. Seems to be pretty poignant, I would say, right now. Also, the Epstein logs are also on the chopping block for tomorrow. Democrat Party being held up by basically the MSDNC stuff as we see here, guys. So that was pretty interesting. So a lot of interesting deltas tomorrow. Yeah. The media, which is crumbling.
The media is like the what did you say for the cabal, the tip of the spear in a lot of ways,
Yeah, it's one of their biggest weapons, I would say.
And
just behind fear.
and as we've talked about, it's crept into social media, and now we have these who's getting paid by a foreign country, sweepstakes going on. I'm taking a poll later on if you guys want to vote. All this stuff's going on. It's just like, oh my god.
Oh, dude, did you guys see this? one more, and I'll call it what it is. I'm so happy to see this shitstorm or this guy finally get his comeuppance from everybody who finally saw what I've been trying to show you guys for a good 2 years.
Oh, we have on the show.
Oh, look at he has blocked me. Raise your hand if you have not been blocked by this guy. And I'm showing I'll be showing the crowd later where there's no hands raised because like he blocked me because I kept bagging on him for telling him like no, President Trump and RFK are not going to be president and vice president. Like every other day, he just kept posting multiple times a day. And here's a funny thing: one of my co-hosts on Table of Titans and show with Hulkinator on Saturday, Hulkinator, this guy posted something, and Hulk said something like, "Oh, could you clarify? Like, what did you mean?" And it was a very straightforward, no like BS, trying to bust his balls or anything. Blocked. It's like, dude, what? Like, are you serious? And so, why this guy's catching such crap lately? Who benefits the most from the nonsense speculation about Charlie Kirk's murder? Antifa and the Dems. One of their brainwashed left-wing lunatics just murdered Charlie Kirk. Okay, that's a fact, right? I don't know about that. And we've got a bunch of woke right retards running cover for Antifa and left-wing terrorism with this Jew-hating smut. So, right here. So, he basically, this guy, Clandestine, called for this dude, Ian Carroll, to be removed off of X because he's saying he's anti-Semitic. And because he's coming back and saying Jack Posobiec, who was also in the post, that we were to keep our eye out about this guy because he's an infiltrator as well. And what's he saying? Oh, it would have been Charlie's 32nd birthday. He will forever be 31 because a violent leftist sought to silence his words with a bullet, but they failed. Charlie's voice is louder than ever, and his TPUSA legacy will endure forever. It wasn't a violent leftist, Jack. Why are you spinning a narrative on your dead friend's grave? I saw a leftist murder Charlie Kirk, and I saw them celebrate it. No, you didn't. You saw a blatant cover-up and an official narrative more full of holes than a school in Gaza. You've posted this exact piece of propaganda nearly a dozen times since the hit. Weren't you the man's friend? And so my question is to all these people, why are you going out of your way, Jack Posobiec, to want everybody to think that, that narrative, which I think a lot of us that are listening here can agree, their official narrative is complete hogwash, out the window, ridiculous, and not one piece of it makes any sense whatsoever for what they tell us. This guy jumped on the roof, and whether they say now that he disassembled the gun or didn't, and then brought it back into the woods and reassembled it, and then wrote this fake text messages that was every word was written, every exclamation point, every comma. 20-something-year-old kids don't write like that. They write in shorthand, right? And so many problems with that narrative. But then this guy comes out and says, you need to get rid of this guy or whatever. So, yeah, he got ratioed like crazy, but he still got a bunch, 750,000 people still listening to this idiot and the stuff he gets. And guess what? One of the things that he was the most popular for was the biolabs in Ukraine. And guess what? It came out recently that he bit that off of somebody else as well. So the thing that made him most popular.
What's she called? Slim Shady? Not Slim Shady. Anyway, there's a lady. She's got quite a big channel, and she posted the information the day. I've got it somewhere. The date that it came out and all of that, and he just copied it, and he did give it the big one and say that he researched it and all of that kind of thing. And it's like, no, there's a reason why you've got a name called Clandestine,
Exactly. And here it is, a month later to the day. Who will actually be defending the U.S. biolabs in Ukraine, wrote Blue Canary's Publius on 1/23/22. Puts the maps of them out, exclusive U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. They're financed at the expense of the U.S. Department. Laboratories are in Odessa, all these different cities, and near Crimea, Luhansk. 2 possible locations, Kharkiv and Myroklav. Exactly the same picture, exactly the same interesting. Zelensky said that I'm seeing speculation that could include U.S. installed biolabs. At first, I was like, no way. Then I started stealing other people's material. Digging. I started digging. Yeah, that's what I did. I dug.
So if you go when at this time, Clandestine was pushed by a bunch of other accounts. If you go back and you pay attention who pushed that, you can form a network. And that network we have talked about on the show. Some of them are on that, and the other one was the offshoot Badlands.
Oh, which I'm not even getting into that shit show.
No, we
not
don't
a fan.
need to.
Yeah, we've never been a fan.
Just to show the connections of how this is done in order to prop somebody out and to make them. And yeah, so these strategies happen all the time, and it's pretty crazy.
So,
Yeah,
like we always say, guys.
psyops,
Yeah, just go with the people who have not done you wrong, have not tried to take you for a ride, and have tried to be as truthful as they can for years, aka us. We've not tried to, bag you guys and tried to run you down the wrong road, try to give you false information. That's just not what we do here, and unfortunately, other people and accounts do that stuff. So, okay, final thoughts on the way out of here, Miss Lisa. We're at about 2 hours and 49 minutes, and I still didn't even eat my dinner yet. I know, so bad.
I only just had mine just before the show. Literally, I finished at 5 to midnight. But dear, I want to see what's happening with these cases. Letitia James, she's cooked. And if she gets off, it's like, oh, come on. She's committed mortgage fraud, and not in a small way. She's done it multiple times. I posted a really nice breakdown that a lady did. And, she has a bit of a sense of humor as well. But, when you look at all of the things that she's done, there's no way that she should get off with that. Comey, what are we looking at? Well, we know what he did, and he's admitted to what he did. So let's see what happens. And Bolton, we've got him. Who was the other person that they said? Kerry? We know
John
Mueller's
Kerry,
we know Mueller's kind of out because of his Parkinson's disease or something like that, so he won't be going to trial.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, and Biden would be nice.
He's in the same boat as same boat as Mueller. We got Biden and Mueller out there in the sailboat just doing laps in the bay.
In the nursing home.
Yeah,
take you out for a nice ride.
Yeah, McCain pulling the same one as well. Remember?
Oh man,
Was it McCain and Pelosi? Was it McCain and Pelosi? Did she not put it on for a while?
Yeah, and remember McCain with the ankle, right? He had the friggin' ankle thing on when he sprained his ankle, and then a week later he had the ankle thing on the other boot.
Cancer, like something,
Well, I think it was Lindsey Graham that said, he said they killed him last night or something.
Oh yeah. It hasn't been 24 hours since they executed John McCain. That was John Kasich, and then McCain's own daughter said, "Yeah, you can't kill him twice." It's like, excuse me? Wait, what? And so, yeah, I mean, that was so funny, right? Like Lisa mentioned, then we have McCain, that air quotes, after he has his two hands up in the air, 30 days later, dies of brain cancer after, oh, wait, he's got an ankle. He sprained his ankle and he's got a boot on that ankle. Well, let me ask you guys in the crowd. All of a sudden, you're living your life healthy. You sprain your ankle. Oh, my goodness, my right ankle sprained. I have to go to the doctor, to the point where they give you a boot and crutches. Well, then over the course of the next 2 weeks, you somehow use your other ankle so much that you've now sprained this one to the point where you need a boot on. Do you simply remove the boot from the other ankle that you sprained only 2 weeks before and start putting all your weight on that one, like John McCain did? Or do you think you maybe time to go with a wheelchair at this point? Right? It didn't make any sense to me. Like, oh, well, he favored that foot so much, so we put the boot on the other side. It's like, nah, you're hiding a friggin' tracking device is what you're hiding. And I think we all knew it at that point. But Mr. Mac, final thoughts, sir?
Yeah, great show. A couple things we didn't get to. Homeland Security announced that there's been 480,000 arrests in 9 months since President Trump took office, which is fantastic. The Florida Attorney General is investigating Roblox, the video game. That's going to be interesting. That's been a portal for pedophilia communications, I think.
Yeah, a lot of kids have been approached on there, I guess.
This is pretty funny. President Trump got interviewed with Maria Bartoloma, and he said that because of the shutdown, Chuck Schumer's losing a $20 billion project, and it'll never be reopened. I thought that was great. That's a huge win.
And dude, and here's the funny thing. I think there was a Delta on that too, where it talked about.
There was.
Yeah, it was a Schumer, and it said like 3.5 billion or something like that. And then Cory Booker had also talked about in the same post. I'll see if I can find it as you're rounding out your thoughts.
And then Europool, which I didn't even know there was a Europool. They dismantled a sim farm for Hire platform that powered 49 million fake accounts used for global fraud.
Yeah.
And there's a video with it. But it's crazy.
I put it in there. Remember,
then,
there's a video in there of them breaking in. It's a big video in the channel.
And then the only last thing I got, Scavino, in his new job role, he will be also appointing U.S. Marshals, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's actually...
So he'll be doing staffing a lot of things. One of them is the U.S. Marshal role.
That's huge.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is huge.
Get on there next time. All right. Actually, crap. I still need to go over and thank the wonderful folks.
Thanks for everybody tuning in. Yeah, great show.
Oh, I can't type. People think people think I joke when I say, literally about 60 or 70% of the videos that I've ever done were on my phone. So when it gets to a computer, not so high tech. So thank you over there to Big Hair Tsunami, Debbie Rausch, and Susie Q, the top 3 contributors over there on D Live. I'm dropping 50 diamonds, I think. I think they changed it from lemons to diamonds or whatever. And let me unthread this thing. I'll be live at 1 p.m. tomorrow, guys. And there we go there. So I'm releasing, I think I just dropped in 50. Okay, there we go. I just dropped the 50 in, distributing the rewards over there. So thank you guys for that. Heading over to the foxhole.app. And especially if you guys are watching on YouTube, you guys should definitely go take a look at pilled.net or thefoxhole.app. Links are in the description box. And that's where we, once we were unfairly removed from YouTube, went right over to the Foxhole. And then after that, Rumble opened up. So thank you to Bois Blanc 89 for the cookie. Sean Joe for the cookie as well, and One Thunder for the can. Thank you for that, guys. And I'm releasing the scratch-offs, and they have been released, and they're coming at you guys. So thank you to the mods as usual. You guys rock, helping myself and many other conservatives out there with their podcasts and keeping us in line and letting us know when we don't release the scratch-ins and whatnot. So appreciate that. I don't think there's anything... I'll say hello to the folks over on the YouTube side of things. It's been a long time over there. And I did break out the intro for you guys in this morning at the beginning of the show. And maybe I'll play it at the end for you as well. But at the end of the day, I'll speak for me, Mac, and Lisa. We do appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next video, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace. We'll do the... I can't do takedown on here, so I'll do this. I'll end the video, and then I'll play it on all the other places except for YouTube, which I'll have to shut off a little bit earlier. So, peace.
Hello, guys. Something special is happening in here. That's right. It's brackets and jackets. Bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks. Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.